They don't make days a whole lot nicer than this one. Temperature in the high 70s, beautiful blue skies, a nice breeze, and a jam-packed grandstand as we are live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Hi, everybody. I'm Eli Gold, and thanks for spending part of your July 4th holiday weekend with us. Let's talk numbers. 93. This is the 93rd year of racing here at the Milwaukee Mile. 102. That's the number of races in the Busch Series Hermie Sadler has run. And number 1, this is the first time he'll start on the pole. Here's Hermie with Glenn.
Well, thanks, Eli. Thus far this season, Hermie Sadler has suffered through a season from purgatory. I can't say hell on the air, but that's what it's been for him. He finally got that pole. He's been running awfully well lately. Think you finally got those demons off your back?
We hope so, Glenn. This pole right here is for all these guys that work hard on this DeWalt Chevrolet. We've worked hard all year, and sure would like to win this race. The pole is good, but winning races is what we're after, and we've had good calls all year, and if we've got one today, we're starting at a good spot to get us one, so we'll see what happens.
Well, I want to wish you the best of luck. I tell you what, it's been a couple of years, or actually over a year, since he has won a race, so Hermie is really looking forward to this race. He's been fast ever since he unloaded off the truck. He loves racing on flat racetracks. He likes Milwaukee. He could be awfully tough today, Eli.
Obviously, though, the overriding story is the new pavement here at the Milwaukee Mile. And what does that mean, Buddy Baker? New pavement on a flat racetrack. Is it just tough to get a hold of this place now?
Well, Eli, it's a full second quicker than it was last year. They're having a problem in the corners with the track peeling just a little bit. Loose pebbles getting out in the outside groove, making it impossible to go wide going in the corners. So that's going to be a problem, I think.
Now, what the track officials have done here earlier today is put down some powdered asphalt on the racing surface. It lowers the temperature of the regular asphalt, and at the same time, it will basically bind the racetrack together just a little bit more. Now, Bill Venturini, you know this place. You've won here in USAC. You won here in the old IRA stock car days. If you were driving today, as you did yesterday, would your old notes still work?
Well, as Buddy had noted earlier, the track definitely was faster when we first got here. But as the track started to lose some of the asphalt coating on it, our times actually started to slow down. We found that our spring setups and shock setups were okay, but we had to change our gear ratios. We had to go to a taller gear to get better traction.
So that's just one of the stories that obviously we'll be following for you all afternoon long. But this has already been a news-filled weekend here in Milwaukee, and Glenn Jarrett, still on pit road, brings us up to speed on the other news of the week. Glenn?
Well, Eli, starting on the outside of the front row, Jason Keller in the number 57 Slim Jim Chevrolet. He, too, has had kind of a tough season so far. Not the best of luck. Been running awfully well lately. He just announced that he will run 4 or 5 Winston Cup races for David Blair Motorsports. That's the car that Elton Sawyer vacated a few weeks ago, so he's got that on his mind as well. Starting in the third position, on the inside of the second row, the hometown hero, Bobby Dotter. Bobby has struggled also this year. He picked up some sponsorship from Lube Tech. That's his old ASA sponsor. Turned that into a fine third-place start here today. He got the pole here the first time the Busch cars came back in 1993. Bobby Dotter also looking for a good run. If he doesn't get some money soon, he says he may have to shut down his operations, Eli.
Well, let's hope he's able to continue. We will continue with a look at the starting lineup. As soon as we return, it is TNN Motorsports and you together live in Milwaukee on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Sears Auto Center's 250 on TNN is brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Controls volatility and fights vaporization. And by the more than 1,350 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Milwaukee Mile. Let's take a look at the starting grid for you as the field will be taking 5 laps right now to try and get some of that powdered concrete up off the corners. Hermie Sadler, he had never been better than second in starting until today. He's on the pole. Jason Keller trying to lead a lap for the first time this year, shares the front row. Bobby Dotter from Chicago, Illinois, and Jeff Purvis, who comes in after running the Pepsi 400 in Daytona yesterday. David Green, the series point leader. Kevin LePage, who is running here for the 3rd time. Bobby Labonte and Randy LaJoy battling for the series point title. Larry Pearson, he's had a couple of second-place finishes here in the last 3 appearances at Milwaukee. Jeff Green likes this racetrack. There's The Bound family representative Jim is here this week with Dennis Setzer, who finished second in a NASCAR truck race a year ago. Dale Jarrett and Tim Fedewa, Todd Bodine and New York's Doug Hebron make up the 7th and the 8th rows. Robbie Reiser and Randy Porter, Nathan Butke, and there's the guy they call Herman, Kenny Wallace, starting outside of row number 10. The 11th row, Rodney Combs and Mark Green, Stevie Reeves from Indianapolis, and Mike Wallace here, a former winner of this event. Phil Parsons and the 45 machine, that's Michael Laughlin. The 85 is Shane Hall. He's been in the NASCAR All-Pro Series. And Mike McLaughlin, his season now starting to turn around after a terrible beginning. Veteran Tommy Houston. Glenn Allen, who won the ASA event here a season ago. Longtime modified ace Jeff Fuller and Georgia's Buckshot Jones. Further back, Dick Trickle. He knows this racetrack like the back of his hand. And Ron Thiel Jr. Chad Little. Boy, what a difference a year makes for that John Deere team. And Dave Marcus's old crew chief, Dale Fishline, in row number 18. The 19th row, Birmingport, Alabama's Mike Harmon. Patty Moise. Curtis Markham has a bad wrist after an accident at Watkins Glen last week. And the 72 machine for Mike Dillon. Rounding out the starting field, Jeff McClure, and in the 15, Tony Stewart, the man who started on the pole for this year's Indianapolis 500. There again, you get a good look at turns 1 and 2, totally flat, and it is a racetrack area that is being worked on with that new powdered concrete as we take a look at the AutoZone race analysis, brought to you by the more than 1,350 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. 250 miles, hence 250 laps on this 1-mile racetrack. And when we tell you it's a 6th Busch Series race here, we ran here back in the 80s, then took about a decade off before NASCAR returned to the Milwaukee Mile. Now in cars, we ride along with Phil Parsons and the Channel Lock team, and I think we're going to be getting some great views from these cars today, Buddy Baker, in light of all of the unusual characteristics of this flat 1 mile.
Eli, as we look back at the cars coming through the corner, you see the white line right around the inside of the corner. That's where you try to keep the left front wheel when you're going through this corner, approaching the straightaways.
Dick Trickle and the Duraloop team. Tim Fedewa also will be carrying some cameras for us today on board after what a weekend they had last time out with their rig burning down on the way to Watkins Glen. And we'll get a good look at Tim Fedewa and see how hard he'll be working today. Now, of course, there have been some teams moving to the back of the starting field. A lot of the drivers who were in this race were in Daytona yesterday for the Pepsi 400, and they weren't able to qualify. Hence, you've got Jeff Purvis moving to the back of the field, Bobby Labonte going to the back of the field, Kenny Wallace, Dick Trickle, Dale Jarrett, who, by the way, had Jim Sauter qualifying the car yesterday, and then in practice, the car ended up in the wall. They decided to try and fix it instead of going to the backup, but he will be going to the rear of the field here on the start.
Eli, this is the first lap that Jeff Purvis has ever had on the Milwaukee Speedway right now. It's kind of a good thing he's getting a little bit of time out there to slow speed, kind of get used to looking at the racetrack.
Bill Venturini, they're going to be patient, you think, or does that all go away when they drop the green hanky?
No, I hope they're all pretty patient today, especially with what's happened with the racetrack, but I think they'll all be pretty patient when they drop the green flag. Everyone's anticipating a real exciting and fast race today.
Well, let's see what happens. The first of 250 miles, 250 laps at the Milwaukee Mile. The Sears Auto Center's 250 on TNN is underway.
Eli, there's your answer. 4 wide coming down the front straightaway.
Now into the corner, they really kicked up a cloud. That is nobody blowing an engine. That is that powdered concrete that is being swept away now. Hermie Sadler, the leader. Jason Keller, the 57, right behind him. Up into turn number 3. Now that is definitely smoke right there from Bobby Dotter. That is Dotter not kicking up concrete powder. That was definitely smoke from behind Dotter's machine, a heartbreaker for the Chicago, Illinois native who will not even go a mile before problems crop up on his engine. Now back into the corner, you see already the separation because third place on back had to drop back when Dotter had his problems. David Green, that's the Cat car, number 95, holds down the third spot. Larry Pearson next in line. Meanwhile, Jason Keller in the 57 trying to chase down Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, one problem I see that they're going to have real early in the race is because of that concrete powder blowing up in the corners. It's going to get on their windshields, and with the Lexan windows that everyone's got, the static electricity will definitely cause a lot of glare, especially with the sun so bright today.
It is a brilliantly shiny day, as you can clearly tell. There's not even a cloud except one little wispy cloud out over beyond the back straightaway. 2 laps on the board. Front 2 pulling away right now by a fairly comfortable margin. Glenn, what was the deal with Bobby Dotter's car?
Eli, I think that they had an oil leak. They raised the hood. He came in with the engine not running, and while he was sitting here, he fired it up. The smoke continued to pour out of it. But I believe he either had a valve cover gasket leaking or some oil blowing out of it some way. We'll get the what was the problem?
The oil cap came off.
Okay, there you got it. The oil cap came off on the car, so they replaced that. He's back underway.
Now we watch Kevin LePage in a good scramble middle of the field right now. He and the 74 of Randy LaJoie. There you've got Jim Bound, the 51, Jeff Green in the 3. They all make themselves move closer to the front with Larry Pearson, that black and gold machine in the middle of the pack. That's for 6th, 7th, and 8th spot.
You can see Todd Bodine there in the 81. He's running quite well, and just in front of him, Larry Pearson has had great success here. Never won, but has been second here before.
Now riding with Tim Fedua. Fedua right in behind the Lipton T entry. That's Dennis Setzer's machine. 10th and 11th, and there you see that smoke again from that concrete dust that Bill was telling you about.
Yeah, some of that smoke is also that they're putting their left front tire actually down in the grass, and they're kicking up a little dust and dirt right off the corner.
That's 7th place you're watching now. The battle between Pearson, the 92, Jeff Green, the 3, and the rest of the pack. That is 7th and further back. 5 laps complete. The front 2, meanwhile, have checked out. They'll come back off the corner and to the stripe as you ride middle of the pack. From Hermie Sadler, meanwhile, and Jason Keller, it's 3 seconds back to 3rd and 7 seconds back to Fedua, who you see there trying to work around Setzer with Nathan Butke right behind him in the 66.
You know, just seeing the Kleenex car in this race, they lost 2 race cars just a week or so ago, and they're really fighting back and running quite well. I'm sure the adjustment of losing 2 of their best cars, then having to maybe borrow parts and everything else from other race teams just to be here. They're running quite well.
They get a good head of steam up on the straightaway. It's 1,265 feet long. The turn you're looking at is 9 degrees of banking, virtually nil. The straightaways are 2.5 degrees as Fedua now gets the jump on Setzer. That'll be the battle for 10th spot. Fedua in 40.
Tim has run here quite a few times, not just with the Busch Series. I know he had run some ASA races here, so it's kind of a familiar track for him.
You know, Eli, just behind him, Nathan Butke is in his early 20s right now, and this guy is a tremendous race car driver in the 66 car. Everywhere he goes, he seems to be just as good as the guys that have been here year after year.
He began racing as a high schooler as we ride with Dennis Setzer. 8 laps on the board now of the 250. Meanwhile, up front, there you see the separation as the leader, Hermie Sadler, pulls away now by nearly 2 seconds on 2nd place, Jason Keller. We are early in the Sears Auto Center's 250 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Glad you're with us here on TNN Motorsports. We are live at the Milwaukee Mile, one of America's venerable racetracks. 93 years of racing, and you see that infield area right there? You know, the Green Bay Packers used to play football there. As a matter of fact, the 1939 NFL championship game was played in the infield of the Milwaukee Mile, with the Packers shutting out the New York Giants that day. There you've got the 88 Kevin LePage, the 74 Randy LaJoie, running in 3rd and 4th, about 3 seconds behind the race leaders. LaJoie's a heck of a story, Bill Venturini.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he spotted for me yesterday for the Super Truck race.
Did he?
And we were talking about the championship race, and he said he paid me $100 if I talked bad about David Green today. Then David Green heard about it, and he offered me $200. And then Jeff Green, his brother, said he'd pay me $300 to talk bad about both of them.
So for the $600, that's $200 for you, $200 for Buddy, $200 for me.
Yeah, and then Rodney Combs heard about it. He said, well, I'll just give you $100 if you just mention my name. You don't have to talk bad about anybody.
That's $700, and the tab is still running. 15 laps complete. Jeff Green challenging Larry Pearson. That'll be 7th and 8th changing hands there.
You can see right now in the early stages of the race, Eli, it's a lot of give and take out there. They're not really fighting hard into the corner. If a guy gets position on the inside, everybody knows the outside's a little bit treacherous as far as the footing out there, so they just back off and let the car go by on the inside.
They've used some smarts. You know, we talked about it earlier, how tough it'll be to drive with your head, not just your foot. And so far, it's working out nicely.
You can see as they're going through the corners, the cars aren't really slipping and sliding as much as we had anticipated. So with the powdered concrete, I guess it did the job that they expected it was going to do.
And the track guys were here all yesterday afternoon after the truck race into the night, again here early this morning. So, you know, they are deserving a pat on the back because they realized that there was a problem yesterday, and they're just trying to make it better here today, and thus far it's working out just fine. That is 3rd, 4th, and here comes Todd Bodine in 5th now, challenging LaJoie.
Now, if they run down the straightaway side by side, watch what happens when they get down towards turn 1. You see LaJoie just roll out the throttle, let him go on. Right now, Todd's car seems to be working better around the bottom line. LaJoie just let him go right on by.
No change up front. If you're just joining us, Hermie Sadler still the leader as we ride and watch Todd Bodine, who's now in 4th. Tell you, Todd really got some great reviews for the job he did with Bill Elliott's McDonald's Ford. Speaking of another Winston Cup bunch, here are the fellas who were in Daytona yesterday, working their way to the front. 44 being Bobby Labonte. He had to go to the back of the field. Riding there with the 24, working his way from the back. That's Mike Harmon. 81, Todd Bodine. He'll make the move inside of LePage and grab the position away. So put Todd up to 3rd now in the Cape Canaveral Cruise Lines entry. That's 3rd, 4th, and 5th on your screen. And you see how quickly 6th has come in. Remember, those guys were 3 seconds back earlier.
Well, I tell you what, Todd Bodine in the past couple of races right now has really turned up the wick on this 81 car. Last week he was 2nd place at the road course up in Watkins Glen. Here today he's on the move towards the front.
David Green thought about sneaking a peek. Just wasn't quite close enough there to make that pass.
Eli, I know that the concrete dust is doing its job, but look at the racing groove itself now. It's turning black again. That means that all that dust is going away now. They're going to start getting better traction, and if the track is going to tear up, it's going to start loosening up pretty soon.
20 of 250 laps are in the board. There's Dale Jarrett in the 32, 64, Dick Trickle, with whom we ride right here. And again, Jarrett's car was driven by veteran Jim Sauter here yesterday. It ended up in the wall in late afternoon practice, but instead of going to the backup machine, they banged on this one and got it straightened out. And there was a lot of cosmetics. They did have to change the rear end, but John Irvin, the crew chief, said nothing was significantly bent enough to warrant going to the backup.
Well, you can see right now that Jarrett is a little bit off. This is too bad. That's Tim Fedewa.
That's the fellow, if you're not familiar, who had the whole team, the truck, the cars, their equipment burned to a crisp last week en route to Watkins Glen for the Lysol 200. You hate to see that.
Yeah, this almost looks like it's just an oil leak or a scavenge problem. Doesn't look like he's blowing the motor because you can see he runs. He's not smoking as he runs down
trouble
the
in turn number 1. McClure in the 50, and that's Dotter in the 55. That orange and yellow machine now righting itself. No caution from Carl Simmons atop the flag stand. So we are staying under green at lap number 22 as McClure in the 50 and Dotter in the 55 went around, and here comes the lead. Hermie Sadler. Don't know if he thought there might have been a caution coming, but he slows, and here's Keller, the 57, to his inside.
Well, I think he'll take the lead definitely as they head down into turn 1. You'll watch Hermie Sadler just roll out the throttle and give him that preferred groove going in the corner. Hermie probably got from his spotter up here, hey, there's trouble on the racetrack, and he backed off.
And this is the first time all year that Jason Keller has led on the Busch Series. Matter of fact, he has not led since the Dover race in Delaware last September. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, buddy, you're exactly right. Once Jason Keller got under Hermie Sadler, Hermie wasn't going to contest him. Larry Pearson just radioed in and said that the outside of the track is real bad. There is no outside groove, so we're all trying to hug the curb. Once the guy gets underneath, you got to let him go.
There's Mike Dillon now in the Detroit Gasket Chevrolet. He comes in with damage to the right front of his automobile, and the crew will go to work as you see the scramble for the lead. Dillon pits, Fedewa pits. There goes Hermie right back for the lead. So Hermie's got it again at lap number 24. So it'll be one lap of a lead for Jason Keller. And now here comes Todd Bodine in the 81. He thought about going past Keller if he could, but Jason saw him coming.
I love to watch Todd Bodine on the go. He really drives this car right to the limit. You see him in the corner here. Right now the car is tracking very well, getting around that lower groove. As they start down the back straightaway, nobody outruns Jason Keller down the straightaways, but in the corners, you'll see Todd Bodine close right back in on his back bumper.
Let's go to Glenn Jarrett. He's updating the Tim Fedewa story.
Well, guys, NASCAR brought him in. They had him come in because of the smoke he was putting down, particularly when he decelerated going into the turns. They changed right side tires, started to send Tim back out. NASCAR said, no, 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 raise the hood. They have looked under the hood. They haven't found anything yet. I can smell something burning, but I didn't see him fix anything. They changed right side tires. He's gone.
He is gone, so we'll keep an eye on the Tim Fedewa problem. Patty Moise slowing on the racetrack right now. Although the car is under power, she's obviously got some problems here in the early stages. 26 of 250 laps complete. We are live in Milwaukee. Welcome back, everybody, as we work the caution. First of the afternoon here at Milwaukee after the problems up in the corner. Phil Parsons involved with Patty Moise. Let's take another look at exactly what happened. Patty's in the 14. Mike Wallace goes by.
Eli, she's trying to stay up high to let the faster cars go by on the bottom side. Watch just as she starts by this lap over car here. She gets out a little bit wide. The back end starts around. Jim Bound, Phil Parsons did not make it. You can see the 10 car, nowhere to go.
It'll be interesting to see what Phil saw. He was carrying our in-car cameras here. Let's ride with him.
Ow.
Man. Fortunately, we don't have an in-car microphone that Phil can refer to right now. And there you see the guys going to work on the channel lock machine. Glenn Jarrett was telling us, Glenn, what was the update finally on Tim Fedewa's situation? How significant were those smoking problems?
Eli, they told me that Tim's problem was it had a clutch line leaking. It was dripping onto the headers, and when he would decelerate, it would sometimes build up and push some fluid out on the headers. And they convinced NASCAR that as soon as the fluid leaked down a little bit, wouldn't have that problem. NASCAR said, okay, that's why they let him go back.
You know who's doing well down there, Glenn? You might have a clock on your brother, too. We were just talking Dale Jarrett up here. He's getting around as quickly, if not more quickly, than the leader right now.
Well, he was complaining about the way the car was feeling. He just didn't like the feel of it. In the setup, they've got it a little softer than it was last year when he won the race. And, of course, these are the first laps that he'd made on the track. He got no practice at all. As you said, Jim Sauter qualified the car. But he was complaining about it, and his crew chief, John Irvin, said, well, Dale, you're running laps quicker than the leaders. What do you want me to do about it? Dale said, never mind.
Never mind. Here we go racing as Marlon Wright, who drives the pace car, pulls down the pit lane. Lap 32 complete, 33 of 250 going up on the board.
Boy, you can see David Green got a bad start there in the 95. He really held up his brother Jeff as they took off there. You see it's about 5-6 car lengths off. You actually could see a little smoke out like he jumped out of gear.
Like jumped out of gear. That's just what I thought. And his brother couldn't pass him on the inside because it's against the rules, so he had to hesitate and wait.
There you see the running order as to where they started, and look at how Todd has moved up from 15th spot to running third. Pit stops. Curtis Markham's been in. Rodney Combs has been in. Leader Hermie Sadler led the first 22 laps, then yielded to the 57 car Jason Keller for 1 lap, and then reassumed the lead again. For those of you just tuning in,
see Todd Bodine looking to the inside as they start in 3 as Keller shuts the door. Nobody's going to go in that corner way wide, so you can see he closed the door on Bodine as they started down into turn 3. Here comes Bodine again on the inside.
Yeah, you can see how good Todd Bodine's coming off the corner. He's definitely got the best handling car coming up the corners right now. And it showed where he just went underneath Jason Keller before they went in one.
He's got second spot, Todd does. Then Keller, then McClure, then, or at least not McClure, but at least the 88 for LePage. And then here's Randy LaJoie. He'll go around LePage and grab the spot going up into 3. They swap it around for 4th and 5th position.
Randy LaJoie has to be very, very careful. This is the car that he plans to run in New Hampshire next weekend, so he really has to be careful not to get on that outside and maybe tear this car up.
Yeah, but buddy, you know Randy LaJoie, and he doesn't know how to hold back a race car. He'll drive it till the wheels fall off it.
Good 3-wide scramble there. Tommy Houston, the 6. Buckshot Jones, the 00. Bouncing off the 46 machine right there, middle of the field. Back up front. Good scramble for the lead. Todd Bodine's getting a little antsy now in second spot. Because this is the first super speedway race that Hermie Sadler has led this year. Heck, he's only led 2 other races coming in, Hickory and South Boston. A couple of real small bull ring short tracks. Here goes Todd for the lead.
He's got the position going down the back straightaway. If he can pull even right here, he's got the spot, I guarantee you.
Todd Bodine will take the lead. He has led 5 events in 1996.
You can see Randy LaJoie get off in the dirt just a little bit. The dust flew, and he dropped back a position as we were speaking. Oh, Jason Keller's off the pace. I think he just pulled over and said, "You guys go ahead." I'm not sure whether he's got a problem or not, but he's not keeping up with the lead bunch like he was just a second ago.
Well, Todd Bodine shows the way. This is the 5th race he has led this year. Takes the advantage at lap number 38. This place is packed.
Oh, they got a huge crowd here today.
My goodness, everywhere you look. Carl Haas and all of the folks here at the Milwaukee Mile, they love seeing NASCAR come to town. Great day yesterday with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. Jack Sprague picking up his 3rd win of the season after victories in Phoenix and Nazareth, Pennsylvania. There's the spread among the top 4.
This is Randy LaJoie taking care of his car for next week. He's trying to make a move for second spot as that speed. Race car drivers race, that's all it is to it. No matter what you have designed for a race car, that's the best car you can have today also. So this race is out for grabs too.
You should know that, buddy. We never race for worrying about what's going to happen next week.
That's the voice of Bill Venturini, who joins us today. Middle of the pack, Jim Bound, Tony Stewart, Tommy Houston. They're all in line. Those machines running all the way back in 17th, 18th, 19th spot. Mike McLaughlin is there, the 34. Chad Little ahead. Now we ride with Tim Fedua, who closes on Shane Hall.
Talking about Tony Stewart, though, a lot of people are familiar with that name from Indianapolis this year. He started dead last, and he's already up in the top 20.
He's a talented race car driver, eh? No question about that. He won everything USAC had to throw at you last year. Fedua has the 00 of Buckshot Jones just ahead of him. That is 18th, 19th, and 20th spot as Patty Moise now returns to the racetrack. So only Mike Dillon is behind the wall, the only car out of the event, and he is still being worked on. Chad Little now, he leads that pack of cars.
Well, you can see as we follow the Tim Fedua car around that the smoking problem's definitely been solved.
Riding with Dick Trickle now, who follows Bobby Labonte, and spinning his Buckshot. Oh, and he comes back across in front of Trickle. How did Dick Trickle miss him? My goodness, how did Trickle miss him? No caution yet. Let's see if everybody can get around. Randy Porter is that green and white and yellow machine on the right side. But now the caution is coming out because Porter cannot refire his car. So caution. It'll fly at lap number 44 for the 2nd time this afternoon as Buckshot Jones spins off the number 2 corner. I still don't know how Trickle missed him.
I'll tell you what, being a short track ace like Dick Trickle, you learn those moves. They're instinctive. You don't have to think. You just do.
And he's probably got more laps, I would guess, on this racetrack over the years than anybody in creation. Let's take a look again. You see Porter having pulled away. Here's a tail end of what happened now.
Looks like Buckshot. I'm not even going to say whether he had any
Might have
help
had
or
help,
not.
you
But he
don't
might
know.
have had a little touch there. But now,
Watch the 64, the red car right there, and Buckshot goes in front, and around he goes.
Eli, I don't mean to act like I know everything, but if he'd have held the brakes when he was spinning towards the inside of the racetrack and turned to the left, he wouldn't have went back out in the groove there.
Yeah, and you can also
See what happens with Tim Feedaway here. He was right behind Buckshot. Let's see what happens.
Just
little
a little
nudge.
touch.
A little nudge, sure did.
40 car Fedewa.
A little nudge from Fedewa sent Buckshot Jones going. That's all she wrote. 44 laps in the books right now. We are working the second caution of the afternoon. And that one car there really getting wrinkled up. Mike Harmon with the crew working on pit road.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Sears Auto Center's 250 on TNN is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running.
Welcome back, everybody, live at the Milwaukee Mile. Let's go look back again at all that took place there off turn number 2, riding again with Tim Fedewa, and here's how this whole mess began.
Eli, you see the hood go up right there. That means he got some contact there. There was an interesting thing that...
I want to watch Dick Trickle, though, for a second, guys. Let's watch Trickle. Remember how he makes the avoiding move? Follows by.
Yeah, you'll see. What I noticed before, Dick Trickle was on the brakes and he was starting to skid, and when he realized that if he kept his foot on the brake and he was going to hit him, he actually let go of the brake, which let him steer and turn away.
Glenn, I guess it was Mike Harmon who got the worst of the whole mess, though, didn't he?
From down here, Eli certainly looks that way. Mike making only his 3rd Busch Grand National start. Mike, what happened out there?
Well, when we were coming off 2 over there was some cars spun just off the corner, and Randy Porter, he had to stop real quick, and I tried to get stopped, and I couldn't. I got hit from the rear, knocked into Randy, and spun him out. And I tell you, this bad partner's car was running great. It busted a radiator on it, and we're out for the day, but we'll be back to see you at Talladega.
That's the way racers think. Helping him in the pits today, the old veteran himself, Red Farmer.
The old redhead from Hueytown, Alabama, Charles D. Red Farmer.
And can still drive well. I run a dirt race against him only last year, and you know what? He won.
And don't try and pass him on the outside. He'll put you up in the tulips. Here we go. Green flag. Todd Bodine leads the field back to the stripe. Lap number 49, the restart.
Well, now we're going to see who really has the muscle. You see the one car in 2nd place there, Hermie Sadler, the pole sitter, Todd Bodine. Out in front right now, he seems to have the handling of the racetrack right at the moment.
Back into the corner. Hermie just trying to track down Todd. Bodine has the comfortable edge. 3rd spot, Randy LaJoy. Kevin LePage now in 4th. Keller is in 5th. Larry Pearson running 6th.
You could see as they come off the corner, Todd seems to get a better jump than anyone else. That's where he makes up his most ground, is coming off the corner. He pulls Hermie by about 1 or 2 car lengths.
A lot of these guys are making some gearing changes this morning to try and predict what the track was going to be like with that powdered concrete, and with the temperatures very comfortable. A lot of work in the garage this morning.
A lot of work. What they're doing is making a drag strip out of this thing where you can really fly off the corner down the straightaway, back off the throttle, hold that low line through the corner, and then accelerate back down the straightaway.
That's Patty Moise, the 14 machine, who's had problems ever since the 26th lap when she pitted, then came out on the track and got involved with Phil Parsons in the first caution. And that's Patty. She'd like to get to the pit area, just can't get to the low side of the racetrack. Back up front, Todd Bodine, the left of your screen, the leader. Then Hermie Sadler, who led the first 22 laps, and now 3rd, LePage and LaJoy. Kevin LePage grabs it with a nice inside move.
See LaJoy going to the low side of the racetrack there. I think he's thinking better of it. He's watching all the spins that are happening right now, and he does have to race this car next week. I think he's being a little bit careful at this early part of the race.
A lot of racing yet to go. As you see, 199 miles remaining on this certified 1-mile track. We are on the Wisconsin State Fair Park Complex, the fairgrounds here in Milwaukee, not far from downtown. You're curious about the fellas who ran yesterday in the Pepsi 400. Jeff Purvis is now 17. Bobby Labonte is 18. Problems in the corner. Ron Thiel Jr. spins. No caution yet. He finds an opening and gets himself righted, so we will continue. Other Winston Cup regulars. Kenny Wallace is now 22nd. Dick Trickle 23rd. Dale Jarrett is running 32nd. That's how the fellas are running who were in yesterday's Pepsi 400. And a big congratulations to Sterling Marlin with that victory, albeit rain shortened. Don't know if anybody was going to touch the old Kodak team and run Pittman's engines.
Well, he had ignition trouble and changed ignitions and went back up, right back up to the front. So he was stout. He probably would have won anyway.
Another look at what happened to Ron Thiel. You see him, the green car outside.
This is going to be a replay of what happened to Patty Marwee. See the back end as he went to the outside to let the faster cars go by. Around the car goes.
That was a replay of just a moment or so earlier. Now a good look at Chad Little in the 23. That's 10th and 11th spot now between he and Dennis Setzer, with Chad in front of some 2,000 John Deere customers and clients on hand as we take a look at the Napa Field rundown for you. The folks at Napa Auto Parts, where we keep America running, bring you the full rundown. Oh, Chad's making his way to the front.
Chad changed gears this morning and went from a 440 gear to a 460 gear so he could go down the straightaway like a rocket. But you see Dennis Setzer actually had a little more speed down the straightaway than did Chad Little.
Yeah, but Dennis wisely backed off a little when Chad got into the corner and closed the door on him.
Here comes McLaughlin.
McLaughlin's coming in the inside.
Mike McLaughlin in 12th, now in 11th. Mike Wallace, right? Mike's a former winner. Only 2 former Milwaukee Busch Series winners are in the field. Look at Dennis Setzer. He got up into that dreaded concrete powder.
Oh, wow. I tell you, that tells you how treacherous that outside is. Dennis Setzer had backed out, let everybody go by, picked up the throttle, and back into the car, almost come around.
Dennis Setzer ran 2nd place in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here a year ago. So he likes this track as we ride with Dick Trickle. That is Setzer to his outside. Back up front now, Todd Bodine and Hermie Sadler, the 81 and the 1. Ron Thiel, that green machine, a lap down, now going 2 in arrears. Still early at Milwaukee. We're coming right back. Opryland, the official destination of NASCAR. Spent a great few days there with the family ourselves just last week. If you'd like to head to Opryland, call them for information at 615-889-6611. That phone number is open Monday through Friday. Well, there's caution on the speedway as Dale Jarrett finds the wall. Caution on the speedway, lap number 62, as Dale Jarrett has found the wall here at the Milwaukee Mile.
A lot of damage to the right front corner of that race car there. You can see he went almost in directly with the right front corner.
So caution is on the speedway for the 3rd time this afternoon. Mike Dillon has returned to the racetrack. He is 29 laps down, so only 1 car out of the race. That is Mike Harmon, who told us he's done for the day. So this caution, he races a 3-second advantage at the front 2. It built up. Now we're back to .0.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Sears Auto Center's 250 on TNN is brought to you by the more than 1,350 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Split Fire. Enter the performance zone with Split Fire Performance V Sport Plus.
Pit stop's the name of the game here at the Milwaukee Mile. Efficient for some, anything but for others. Hermie Sadler had some problems, Bill Venturini, when he came down pit road.
Yeah, as you can see, when he came into his pit stall, he actually skidded the car too close to the wall. And you'll see when the jackman comes around the front, he's not going to have any room to jack the car up. They've actually got to back the car up and then try to get the jack in there. There was no room. And if you look, he's actually jacking the car sideways. I mean, he's all the way by the front wheel trying to get it up.
That's a heartbreaker, as well as Hermie, who's been running from the pole today.
Yeah, and the jackman couldn't get a full pull on the jack handle itself. That was about an 8 or 9 second mistake right there.
Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, guys. You know, we hear so many times about lug nuts being rounded off and air guns jamming and things like that. Well, a fellow by the name of Ken Mitson and his partners at Argo Manufacturing in Illinois have solved that problem. Let's take a look at this tire down here. Now, this is a spring-loaded wrench for the sockets. You see it fits right on it. When it comes out, this spring in here will pop the lug nut out. Some of the Winston Cup guys, Busch guys use these. Some don't like it. There is the regular one right here without the spring loaded. It helps to keep rounded lug nuts from being a problem. But this one right here, this one's called the Ripper. Look at what they call the fish hook design on here. If there's a rounded off lug nut, this baby will take care of it. So you should no longer see the problems that they have with rounded off lug nuts. I think these guys have got a great future, this piece of equipment right here.
A great innovation in motion, brought to you by Peerless Faucet. Get more out of your faucet than just water. 65 of 250 laps on the board. We work the third caution of the afternoon. We are live at the Milwaukee Mile. We're coming right back. We continue under caution here at Milwaukee. Hey, you might want to race into the all-new and official store of NASCAR. NASCAR Thunder is now open at the Gwinnett Place Mall in Atlanta, Georgia. And there's also one opening near you very shortly, the Haynes Mall in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They'll be opening up in mid-August. And in Knoxville, Tennessee, the Westtown Mall will be opening NASCAR Thunder late September 1996. Continuing under caution, and while we have an opportunity, NASCAR and the officials here at the Milwaukee Mile have the jet blower out there to try and help clean the corners here. Again, if you're just joining us, that white powder is powdered concrete that was put down to help the curing process here at this newly repaved Milwaukee Mile. Meanwhile, a guy who could probably use a cure for a headache right about now is Dale Jarrett.
Well, Eli, the blow dryers out there might be a little too late for this car. You can see the Band-Aid for the Dale Jarrett is going to need much more than Band-Aids to fix this. This is extensive surgery. We'll get a word with Dale here to find out exactly what happened. Dale, you won this race last year starting from the rear, but different racetrack this time.
Yeah, this isn't a racetrack, and I'm not downgrading the people here in Milwaukee. This is not what Busch Grand National Racing is all about, and it's a real shame that these guys can't get out here and show these fans that come to see real racing what it's about. Well, I should have parked it after the first incident back there where I tried to squeeze through and it knocked the toe end way out, and the car wasn't right even from the deal yesterday. But, you know, I wanted to stay out there for our sponsors, for Band-Aid and Hudson Technologies and Mac Tools, and do what we could. But I just, you know, it was hard to steer, and I got up in the loose stuff, and once you get up there, you're gone.
Well, we've seen it. We saw it yesterday in the truck race. Again here today with Dale Jarrett. He finished 6th yesterday at Daytona, but not as good a day today here at Milwaukee.
So track cleanup continues after the third caution flag of the afternoon. The AutoZone Tech Fact is brought to you this afternoon by the more than 1,350 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone is the best parts in auto parts. And earlier, Ron Hornaday, who drove in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series event here yesterday, spent some time walking the racetrack with Glenn Jarrett. Let's eavesdrop.
Well, the talk along pit road when the teams got here to the Milwaukee Mile was the great job that had been done in resurfacing this facility. Ron Hornaday, you're with me. You ran the truck race. You qualified Bobby Labonte's Busch car. Some problems developed during the truck race on Saturday.
Well, I'll tell you that, you know, they've done a great job repaving this, but what the whole theory we got right now is you can almost see the track coming up. It's pretty hot out, and if you try to run too low, you're throwing the gravel off the bottom side of the track, getting into this groove throws it up there. So it's a one-groove track, and 250 laps. You're going to be sliding for life.
Well, track officials worked late into the night to try to alleviate the problem. We hope they got it solved in time for today's Busch Grand National race.
It is smooth as glass, that's one thing for sure, and they'll get all their situation rectified here. There's David Green. They had problems on pit road, and they are all the way back in 29th spot. He came in, as you see, in 4th position, so problems on the pit lane for the Caterpillar team, relegating them further back. David Green, what a great qualifier he has become. 18 career Busch poles, right now tied with Tommy Houston for 3rd in that department. You know who has the most poles in the history of the Busch Series?
No.
Tommy Ellis.
Wow, Tommy
Brought
from
some
Richmond, Virginia.
brought some great cars down from Richmond over the years.
You bet. He was a little. You talk about somebody that would get in there and scrap with you, he would get with it.
Sam Ard is 2nd in all-time Busch poles in this series, and now David Green and Tommy Houston tied for 3rd. Bill Venturini's with us today. We're getting an eyeful this afternoon.
Oh, good show. I wish the track was a little better so you can see a little more side-by-side racing, but they're doing a good job. I made a comment earlier that Hermie Sadler dropped back after the pit stop. Look at, you can see Jeff Purvis is actually in 6th spot. I think he's out of all the guys that ran the Winston Cup race yesterday in Daytona, he's moved up the best.
Quickly to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, guys, we're down in the pits. This is leader Kevin LePage's pits. David Ridling, the guy in the center with the sunglasses. These Get Well cars that the kids have made are for his father, Walt Wilson. He's in the hospital in San Antonio, Texas. He's watching us today. Get well soon, Walt. We miss you here. We're about ready to go green.
All right, thanks. And certainly we share the sentiments for Walt. Look to see him back at the racetrack as the green is in the air, and Kevin LePage is now the race leader here at the Milwaukee Mile. Everybody's tiptoeing through the corner now.
Boy, Jason Keller was lucky there. He got hung on the outside but was able to get back in the line there. Nobody wants to go too wide through the corner. As I say that, we have one on the outside. We'll see if the jet blower did a good job. No, you can see Kevin LePage is really out of the groove.
So Kevin LePage, who was the race leader, will lead just for this one revolution under green.
You can see Tim Feeder is running up front, but all he's done is he made up his one lap that he had lost earlier when he had some oil leak problems. So now he's actually the last car in the lead lap.
Right, Todd Bodine, he is the 3rd man, rather the 4th man in line, the 81. He is the race leader. There's Todd. Led from lap 38 to lap 63 earlier than the pit stops came.
See Larry Pearson running along there in 2nd spot right at the moment. That's a good place to be right now. Just sit with the leader and work your way up through there.
On the restart, Jeff Purvis had some problems just in front of Hermie Sadler there. You see middle of the field?
Eli, he had 2 problems. He had a car on the outside that was cutting down and the end of the pit wall there. He was really lucky not to run into either one.
Buckshot Jones now on the tail end of the lead lap earlier, but when he did not make a pit stop, has now taken over the lead. Remember, he pitted at lap 46, did not come back in when everybody else pitted in the 63rd and 64th lap. So for the first time, Buckshot Jones now leads on the NASCAR Busch Series. Buckshot Jones on a bit of a different tire strategy. Will it pay off?
Not very long. You can see Todd Bodine side by side down the back straightaway. Buckshot checks up and pulls into 2nd there.
So Buckshot Jones yields the lead back to Todd Bodine, who will officially take it again at lap number 75. But old Buckshot had his moment in the spotlight there. Again, he came in at lap 46. He pitted. Dale Jarrett came in back at that point. Also, there was a pit stop for Randy Porter, you might remember, after Buckshot spun off the corner, and he didn't come back this most recent time. Todd Bodine shows the way, gets around Bobby Dotter.
Boy, Bobby's in a wide spot there. Let's just see. Well, blowing the racetrack definitely helped because we had watched 2 or 3 cars spin when they got that wide.
Todd nearly going sideways there through the corner, and it allows Larry Pearson, the 92, to chase him down. Remember, Larry has finished 2nd in 1993 and 1995 in this event, so he runs this track well, and there he is in 2nd again, the 92 car.
Just behind Buckshot Jones there is Jeff Green. He's moving up quite well in the Earnhardt Chevrolet there.
Jeff Green, he has had 7 top 7 finishes in the last 8 races. That team's starting to turn the corner. Let's talk about Larry Pearson, Glenn Jarrett. What's the story on them, how well they're running?
Well, they certainly are running well, and you're right, he does like this racetrack with those 2nd place finishes. They changed 4 tires there under the caution flag pit stop, made about a half a pound adjustment to the air pressure on the tire on the right side. They had a very, very fast pit stop. In fact, one of the best pit stops I've seen in Busch Grand National Racing this year. That's why he got out so far up in the pack. Some of the other guys' pit stops weren't quite as good. Pearson's was excellent.
And they're trying to avenge the problems of a week ago. They had their first DNF. The first race they did not finish of the season last week at Watkins Glen in the Lysol 200.
Eli, what we're running into right now, you must have great pit stops. Look at Hermie Sadler right now, kind of back in the pack here, and it's hard for him to come back up to the lead. A while ago, he was leading with ease. Right now, he's fighting his way back towards the lead.
We're watching the 3, Jeff Green, he's in 4th. McLaughlin, the 34, is in 5th. Then Hermie Sadler right behind him in 6th. Others in that mix. The 4 of Purvis, 74 LaJoy, 90, that's Mike Wallace, he's running 9th. In the garage, only Mike Harmon and Dale Jarrett, if you're just joining us. And now Patty Moise, she will go to the garage area. Meanwhile, up front, Todd Bodine, the 81, the second man in line, trying to get around Tim Fedua, putting him a lap down if he can.
That just tells you how difficult it is to pass here. Tim Fedua is running a very good line, loves this racetrack himself from this part of the country. Todd Bodine's got all he can stand. Just as you see, as I said, that he's starting to make a move on the inside. Watch everybody kind of get in a line, making a Congo line down the back straightaway here to go by.
You can see Tim wisely backed off of it. He didn't want to be hung out on the outside lane going into that corner. So he backed out and let all 3 cars go by him real quick.
80 laps on the board of 250. Glad you're with us on TNN with Buddy Baker and Bill Venturini. Glenn Jarrett on the pit lane. I'm Eli Gold. Glad you're able to spend part of this holiday weekend with us here in Milwaukee. Hermie Sadler has led, so is Jason Keller. Todd Bodine and Kevin LePage. Buckshot Jones led for a handful of laps. And now Todd Bodine shows the way again as we're in the middle stages in Milwaukee.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Sears Auto Centers 250 on TNN is brought to you by Pep Boys. 26,000 items at the guaranteed low price. Tires and service too. Everything but gas. And by Peerless Faucet. Get more out of your faucet than just water.
It is 2.7 seconds of an advantage for Todd Bodine here in Milwaukee as Mike McLaughlin, the 34, Hermie Sadler in the 1, both get by Jeff Green. McLaughlin, who moved into the 4th spot, started 28th here this afternoon. So a good run from McLaughlin here at this stage of the afternoon, working lap number 87 of 250. There you see the progression from McLaughlin, and you know he has 3 consecutive top 6 finishes now. McLaughlin does. 6th at Myrtle Beach, 2nd at South Boston, 3rd last week at Watkins Glen. And when you think about it, guys, he only had 1 top 5 finish in the first 11 races of the year. What turns it around, Bill? I mean, why all of a sudden it's like somebody threw the light switch and things go good? What happens in a racing team?
Well, it's a combination of you get to know the equipment. He may have changed chassis builders over the year. You don't know. But actually, the biggest improvement that I found with the team is your personnel. You're working better in the shop. You're getting the cars better prepared. When you get to the racetrack, there's less problems. You run better, and the whole team seems to gel. The personalities all gel.
Some good scrambling there. Buckshot Jones, the 00. Remember, he is no longer on the lead lap. Or I correct myself, he is still on the lead lap. Buckshot, remember, had been leading for a while, led 3 laps to 72nd, 73rd, and 74th. So he's given himself a very strong run. Buckshot Jones in the 00. 4 in the 3. That's position 6 and 7. Jeff Purvis and Jeff Green. Jeff Green driving for Dale and Teresa Earnhardt. Purvis for Larry Finch.
Oh, Purvis got a little hello from Jeff Green there. Going in the corner, he gave him a little nudge. But, you know, Jeff Purvis is used to this. He runs short tracks all over the United States. And that's just racing. When you're out there with track conditions where you really have to watch your line. Oh, here goes Curtis Markham sideways.
He spins in the corner. Here comes everybody else, and he gets out of harm's way. I think I said that Jeff Purvis drives for Larry Finch. Of course, he drives for James Finch. Larry Finch being a fine basketball coach.
We've got a wreck in the middle of 1 and 2.
Right up against the outside wall. The 45 machine finds the wall, and that's going to bring the caution out, or will it? Yes, it will. Michael Laughlin, as he spins up in the wall, and caution is on the speedway. So at one end of the track, Curtis Markham spun and then continues. Here's Stevie Reeves. He's in the foreground there. He almost went up into the wall, and Mike Laughlin now pulls away at the other end of the speedway, but NASCAR elects to throw the caution here for the 4th time at lap number 91 as Patty Moise has returned to the racetrack.
About 2 laps before this yellow came out, I noticed in the middle of 1 and 2 that Randy LaJoie was running real good. He got up into the outside groove, and he lost probably about 10 positions.
Let's go and take a look at what happened on all these different incidents now. First spin will be up in this corner.
Eli, you could just see he got in the loose stuff there. There's nothing he can do at this point except what he's doing, just letting the car slide in a straight line there. Now, this wasn't too good.
That was a brave move.
In traffic there. Woo. But he thought he could make it and did. Now that was Curtis Markham. Now here's what happened to Mike Laughlin.
He's in a bunch of trouble. Watch the front end come around and hit this outside wall. You talk about impact. Watch right here.
You can see the front end actually buckles all the way up to the front wheels.
So caution on the speedway, lap 92. We mentioned Patty Moise is back. She is 51 laps down if you're keeping tabs. Mike Dillon on the racetrack after a stay behind the wall. He's 29 laps down, while Todd Bodine is the leader.
Brought to you by Gladiator and Universal Luxury Vans, the official vans of tracks, teams, and drivers throughout the NASCAR world. Call 1-800-445-2825 for a dealer near you.
Welcome back, everybody. There's a young man who has really earned some accolades today. Tony Stewart started shotgun on the field, and he was running and still is in the 8th position. That's a day's work.
I'm going to tell you something else. He come in the pits a while ago and went out, so the crew worked well, but Tony Stewart has come from 42nd spot all the way up to 8th. That's a drive, and you notice the quarter panel on that car has absolutely nothing on it. I can't believe it with this talent.
Got a lot of talent there. Of course, Harry Ranier is taking him under his wing to try and further nurture his NASCAR career. So a lot of future for that young man. It's going to be interesting to see, though, with the pull of Indy-style racing, whether it's IndyCar, what have it, IRL, but that pull and the allure there versus how well he's going to be able to do it NASCAR. It'll be interesting to see which direction his career goes.
Well, we can tell one thing. Jeff Gordon had pretty much the same background as Tony Stewart, and they're out of the same mold. We'll see what happens.
Glenn Jarrett's on the pit lane, keeping tabs with, I guess, Todd Bodine's bunch.
Yeah, a lot of talent right here, too. This is Ron Neal, who owns that car Todd's driving. Also an engine builder. Built engines for Dick Trickle, Alan Kowicki. You kind of consider this your home area, and you've evidently got the right amount of power to the racetrack today, Ron.
Well, we really put a lot of effort into this race. It is our home track. It's always been a very special place on the old ASA days. We really didn't do anything special. It just happens to be working out right. We want to thank Cape Canaveral for letting us have the opportunity.
Well, I tell you what, they're going to take Cape Canaveral on a very good ride right now. Todd heading the field, and as you said a little bit earlier on, Buddy Baker, Todd Bodine been one of the hottest drivers on this circuit lately. I tell you what, they may have a hard time keeping up with him today.
Hey, Glenn.
Yeah.
Ron Neal even did some engines for me back when I was running in my ARCA program.
You did engines for Bill, was it Venturini? That's his name.
We did.
Welcome.
He won the ARCA championship.
Yep.
So he always said it was the driving, but I'm pretty sure it was probably the engine.
Oh, okay. So I guess it's not.
So
it's not Todd driving the car. I guess it's just the engine program here.
Of course, Prototype Engineering was, I mean, they were at the top and still are. A great company with great power plants. Green flag is in the air, and here we go. Everybody flares out to try and find spots. Tony Stewart jumped the start that time.
And you believe
he's going to be getting a black flag right here. Tony Stewart is going to be getting a black flag for a stop-and-go penalty. He was in 8th. There he's in 3rd, and that's going to cost him.
Yeah, bad break for him. He was really running good today, and sure enough, they're pulling out the black flag right now. We'll see if they put his number up.
Yeah, they are going to. Number 15 going up on the board. And we say it's a bad break. He's over anxious there, or something that kind of he did to himself. I hate to see that. For Tony Stewart, he'll be having to come in for a stop and go. We'll take a look and see again. Watch Stewart, the 15, pick him out of the bunch here.
Okay, you are allowed to pass on the outside. Is the green flag out when he starts to pass? Pretty close.
It was. I don't know. That's right. You're right, buddy. He did pass on the outside, and the green flag was waving.
Meanwhile, up front, Todd Bodine has Buckshot Jones behind him. That is the battle for the lead. That is the battle for the lead. Buckshot led 3 laps earlier. They were side by side seconds ago. Now nose to tail again.
You know, Eli, just a few years ago, this particular race team was,
trouble, Phil Parsons. Phil's in the middle of that, the channel lock colors. Everybody else stops on the binders. They couldn't see through the cloud. That was Mike Dillon there in the 72, and we're staying under green. Staying under green. Boy, it's been one of those days for old Phil, hasn't it? Todd Bodine now checking out just a bit.
Just before we went away, I was going to explain that this 00 that Buckshot Jones is driving. Let's look at the rest before I talk about this.
Watch what happens.
Chain reaction, you can see it there.
Yep.
Actually, it looked like Dale Fishline's the first car that got sideways coming off the corner.
Yeah, he saved it there. He's on the right of the screen.
Yep. He looks like he might have got a little help from the guy behind him, but then
Phil Parsons finally goes around. Middle of the pack, you look right there in front of the main grandstand. Positions 3 on back. Todd Bodine up front. If you're just joining us, he has led 52 of the first 100 laps as Jeff Green in the 3 challenges Larry Pearson for 5th. And there's Hermie Sadler going around McLaughlin. Green making the pass there on Pearson. Everywhere you look, somebody's passing somebody.
The 99 is Glenn Allen there. He's one of the top rookies this year. He's running quite well. Right?
He started at 30th, and he's up to 7th. Glenn Allen Jr. is in the 99. Meanwhile, back up front, Todd Bodine still showing the way. That's the separation from 2nd place in the middle of your screen to the red, white, and blue colors of the leader, Todd Bodine. Plenty yet to come. 104 laps on the board, and there you see a good scramble for position 3, 4, 5, and 6. Jeff Green wants to grab that spot away from McLaughlin, and Phil Parsons goes around again in the corner. Caution this time. Caution this time, lap 105. Phil Parsons, who must just have a handful, too. That's going to be an off-balance race car on top of everything else. Glenn?
Come in for that stop-and-go penalty. This is a great break for him. This will bring him right back up to the rear of the field. As Buddy said, he's already come from there one time. I'm betting he can do it again.
You can see Mike Wallace is also involved in that wreck with Parsons.
Mike started 24th. He was up to 9th spot when the caution flag flew. So this is a good break for some, not so much for others, as we work lap number 106 here at the Milwaukee Mile. Everybody will be coming down the pit lane next time, you would assume. Well, they were in at lap number 63. So we've gone some 43 laps, 43 miles since. Everybody's taken different strategies. We'll take another look at what went on the racetrack. They were Green and the 34 McLaughlin. Up, and it got bottled up. Mike Wallace, and is that LaJoy, I guess, who also got a piece of it?
Phil's already in the wall on the outside retaining wall, so I think what happened was Mike Wallace checked up and then got hit in the back.
Yeah, it looked like Jeff Green was moving in there and just popping the back of the car in front of him just a second ago, and what it probably was the first car checked up a little bit and he got into the rear.
Well, Glenn, let's talk pit strategy here. Obviously, pit road open, not many folks coming in.
don't appear to be, Eli. I'm walking around behind the pit stalls here to see who looks like they might be getting ready, and I haven't seen anybody yet. There is a tire rule in effect here today, and that is that they get 3 sets of tires in addition to the set that they started on. So they really got to kind of budget and manage their tires right now. They are getting good tire wear, so I don't think we'll see anybody in right now, Eli.
So that's one thing we're watching, as was the case yesterday. Tire wear has not at all been a problem. Goodyear's really done their homework. Now there's work going on for Phil Parsons' bunch. Green flag is in the air here at the Milwaukee Mile. Back racing at lap 109. And that is the battle for the lead. We're not used to seeing old 00 up there. Buckshot, though, finished 9th at South Boston in 1995 as his career best. His best of this year was 13th at Myrtle Beach. 21st at Dover was Buckshot's best finish on the super speedway. And he's equipped himself quite nicely this afternoon.
Well, as I was saying a while ago, this particular race team is Ricky Pearson, who had he was crew chief for Robert Presley when they won several races. This is a good race team, and this is a young driver learning a lot right now, following a very good seasoned veteran, Todd Bodine.
That was the old Alliance race team.
You got a pretty good memory there, Mr. V. Mike McLaughlin in the 34, Glenn Allen Jr. in the 99, working around with Hermie Sadler in the 1, all wanting a piece of second spot.
You can see Mike was definitely looking the inside of Buckshot going down the front straightaway. And as you get into 1, the pit wall on the inside is so long that you really can't cut the corner. You got to stay out pretty far.
A lot of guys are going through the grass down there, too, to cut the corner down.
Yeah, once you get into it, you can cut down on the grass. But getting into 1, the wall sticks out so far, you got to really wait before you can make your move.
Remember, the 99, Glenn Allen won what they call the Badgerland 150, the ASA, American Speed Association race here, and he came from 20th. We talked about great drives today, buddy. Glenn Allen came from 20th with 20 laps to go to win the ASA race here last year. Just nipped Mike Getty at the line.
Eli is running a perfect groove right around the very base of the racetrack. He knows he cannot let this car wash out towards that white part of the racetrack. Look how low he is, right on the back of McLaughlin as they head down the front straightaway.
You were speaking about crew chiefs earlier. He's got one of the best, I feel, in the business. And then David Ift was, I'm just watching what David Ift is his crew chief now. And back in 1991, I won the Texas first race at Texas with David being my crew chief.
Exactly. You talk about characters in this business.
He's been
David
my crew chief.
The book.
I'll tell you what.
David Ift is the book.
Sometimes you don't know whether to laugh or cry when you're working with him.
Meanwhile, we watched this great battle. Todd Bodine is pulled away by 1 9/10 seconds with the race lead. There you see the separation from first back to second. Buckshot Jones and the rest of the field. That's 1 9/10 seconds here on the Milwaukee Mile. Glenn Allen again in the 99.
He just keeps picking away at that inside groove there, but look at McLaughlin go down that straightaway.
He gets off the corner and really rockets, you're right. We're at lap 114.
He didn't rocket off that one that time.
No.
It almost looked like Glenn had to back off just a little from running into him.
Just joining us, Dale Jarrett done for the day with an accident. Mike Harmon likewise. Everybody else out there still running, although some are in significant states of disrepair, but they're out there nevertheless. Flat turns. They don't use any of that limited banking, just 9.5 degrees of banking.
Okay, Glenn Allen is just about far enough up to be he let him go. You see McLaughlin just roll out the throttle and say, go ahead.
Meanwhile, Todd Bodine's now up to 3 seconds of a lead. He's just running by himself, folks. That's why we're watching this good battle for you. Third and fourth, Todd is alone by 3 full seconds up front. Second is Buckshot Jones, and you're looking at 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th positions right now on the racetrack.
Look at Nathan Butke making the move on the inside there on Jeff Green as they head down into turn 1. Nathan is running a great race, keeping himself out of trouble. Very young, but very talented.
Nathan Butke in the 66, that white and blue car. Oh, little time up in the corner there. but it was saved nicely for Glenn Allen. Yep, found himself getting out of the groove up in the corner and saved the race car. Settles in now just ahead of the 57. That'll be back in the 9th spot, just ahead of Jason Keller and behind Dennis Setzer. We'll take a look again. Let's see if we can figure out exactly what happened to Glenn Allen Jr.
Okay, you see him on the outside. He's in the loose stuff there. He's just letting the car roll. The back end starts out towards the wall. You notice he never touched the brake. He let the car right itself. If he'd have touched the brake, it'd have went around.
He tried to pass McLaughlin to the outside. Now we go back to Dick Trickle and Purvis and David Green. That is in 11th, 12th, and 13th positions now that you're looking at.
You can see Purvis gave Trickle a little shot in the back end, and then he got sideways.
Randy LaJoie is next in line there. 74. Good battle for the lead, or at least for the season point lead. Not so much Dick Trickle in the 64, but the guys behind him from LaJoie and David Green. Those are the fellas battling for the seasonal point lead of the NASCAR Busch Series. Of course, these cars move on to Loudon, New Hampshire next weekend, as do so many of the NASCAR Touring Series. The NASCAR Busch North cars, the Featherlight Modified Tour, of course, the Winston Cup teams, all in Loudon, and we will be there as well for weekend-long coverage beginning Friday morning for you. Doug Hevron is the 75. Chad Little is the 23. That's 15th and 16th that they're battling for.
You see David Green pulled to the inside, but he didn't have Purvis inside enough, but just back behind them. Doug Hevron crashed in practice, or actually qualifying, and hit the outside wall. Running very well today for all the work they had to do on that car to get it ready for today.
121 laps remaining in this one, or at least 130 remaining. 121 are complete. You know, we've talked about Randy LaJoie and David Green. Randy has had some bad luck in the last few races. What's your strategy for the rest of the season chasing the championship, Randy?
3 good weeks, a couple bad weeks, and we're 35 behind them. Now we're 185 behind them or something. So we just got to get back to where we can run back in the top 5 and not have any bad luck. We didn't have a good car at Myrtle Beach. Found out the frame was cracked and ended up tearing up the snout on that. It flex all the heck.
Chad Little, round he goes. Stopping is Jim Bound. That happened, unfortunately, in front of sections AA and BB at this racetrack, where some 2,000 John Deere employees are on hand to see the John Deere car do that full pirouette. And boy, what a seasonal difference this has been. No yellow. We continue under green, even though there are some problems, obviously, for the 51 there. Jim Bound and others. Todd Bodine leads. We'll take a look again what happened. This kind of puts Chad Little's season into full focus.
It looks like Randy LaJoie, yeah, he cut across the nose of Chad Little here, getting into the corner, and that's what actually turned Chad around, was when Randy came across the front nose on him.
We'll be halfway next time by here in Milwaukee as we take a look at another angle at what happened.
Okay, the blue car there, that's Randy LaJoie. You see the 75 car underneath him. Chad comes up, tries to get underneath. Of course, LaJoie was going under. Now Jim Bound had nowhere to go. He went low, trying to avoid, got into the back of Chad Little.
So now at lap 124, Chad Little will make a pit stop as we go back up towards the middle of the field. 9th, 10th, and 11th spots on your screen right now, led by Hermie Sadler in 9th. Dick Trickle and David Green behind him. Lap 125, halfway here in Milwaukee on the board. $2,000 from Gatorade, the Gatorade Front Runner Award, going to Todd Bodine here this afternoon. He's led since lap 75 in this series.
Yeah, we're riding here with Dick Trickle. I want to say hello to my new godchild, Wayne Paul. The gas man on their team is godfather to his child, Matt Wolper, his new child, Wayne Paul.
Super. Lap 126 as we ride with Dick Trickle,
who's running 9th. this particular time. Quite a good run for him. He started in the last back-in-the-back spots there, and Trickle's moved all the way up to ninth now.
Yeah, another of the guys who was not here yesterday because of the problems, and now caution on the speedway. Trickle was in Daytona yesterday, and Mike Wallace brings the Duron Paints Heilig Myers machine down the pit lane under caution. The 6th one of the afternoon comes out at lap number 127. He is a winner here. Dale Jarrett, a former winner here in the Busch Series, and both men now apparently done for the day. Certainly Jarrett is. We'll update Mike Wallace's problems as soon as we come back. Working caution for the 6th time as Todd Bodine leads here in Milwaukee. Driver profile brought to you by Pep Boys. 26,000 items at the guaranteed low prices. Tires and service too. Everything but gas. David Green is the man we feature today as our Pep Boys driver profile. Performance from 1995 to 1996. Man, what a difference a season makes. 7 times last year they failed to finish. 1996, they've been running at the end of all of the events. What's the reason, David Green? How did this whole team turn around this year?
Over the wintertime, you know, I really tried hard to convey to Butch and the guys, you know, kind of what I wanted on all the racetracks, not just Daytona, but the whole season. And at the same token, the most important part was Butch and all the guys were open enough, and Kurt Shelverdine were open to say, okay, this is what that driver wants. Let's work real hard and do it. Well, over the course of the wintertime, those guys built a complete race team. I mean, they had very few race cars, very few equipment. They put it all together, plus listen to what I wanted to do. Not that I was right or wrong, but between the two of us, the team and myself, you know, we were able to put everything together. And I think the very key was to go to Daytona almost like we'd have a half a season together, even though we hadn't. And then we went through our trials and tribulations so far, but, you know, it's just a lot of hard work real early in the year.
So David Green with a successful 1996 underway. Meanwhile, Glenn Jarrett is caught up with Mike Wallace down near the Duron team transporter. Fellas.
And once again, as you said, a former winner here taken out by a crash, and Mike Wallace, like Dale Jarrett, doesn't look very happy either. Mike, what happened?
Well, you know, we cut down a right front tire, but you know, Milwaukee Mile is a great racetrack. Unfortunately, it's just got a very poor paving job right now, and they're not cleaning the racetrack enough. It's a shame. I mean, I begged for it, caution after caution, to clean the racetrack. It looks like a gravel truck or a dump truck dumped gravel down there. And when we blew a tire to amplify it, we got into gravel. The car basically picked up speed. We wrecked hard. Now they're cleaning the racetrack. It's a shame. The Duron Paints Heilig Myers Ford Thunderbird. You know, we spun around there to miss a wreck, coming back to the front, and had a right front tire failure. But it's a shame. This is a great racetrack. Carl Haas and his people done a nice job up here. It's in, I guess like they told us in the driver's meeting, they only spent $2 million paving it. Maybe they need to spend $3 million. Who knows?
The thoughts of Mike Wallace.
131 laps on the board, just past halfway. Time for our Stanley Tool laps down. He is on the pit lane. Here comes Rodney Combs for service. Kenny Wallace, Bobby Labonte is in. Tony Stewart is in. Here comes Stevie Reeves in for service. Likewise, Patty Moise and Shane Hall all in for service here at lap number 137. Obviously, though, Keller's team popping the hood on the Slim Jim machine. You saw Jim Bound come in kind of hot right there behind in the 51. Here's old Tony Stewart. You know, remember he had a stop and go penalty earlier? Where is he now? Back up to, before the pit stop, he was back up to like 16th or 17th.
He's working today, I'll guarantee you, but I bet one thing, he won't jump at restart again.
Good bit of work underneath the Red Dog Ford. Kenny Wallace at the wheel. All of this at lap 135 of 250, about 115 remaining.
They were working under the rear end of the Red Dog car. I don't know if Kenny's got a rear end pump problem or a gear problem or transmission, but they were underneath working on the drivetrain.
Mark Green comes on the pit lane now for service. Dennis Setzer is in. Ron Thiel presents himself. Tim Fedua is in. Dale Fishline. Here's Bobby Dotter coming in. Rodney Combs again. Everybody coming down the pit lane taking advantage of this opportunity while NASCAR and officials from the Milwaukee Mile check out the racetrack. We're coming right back. Battling for the lead here in Milwaukee, Nathan Butke in the 66 wants to grab it away from Todd Bodine in the 81. Now up in the wall goes Glenn Allen Jr. The Luxair machine. Problems here at lap number 138. Here come the leaders back to the stripe. Caution is in the air for the 7th time. Lap number 139. You see Glenn Allen taking down the safety net. That is an indication to NASCAR officials that he is okay, and that is something that's done all across the world of NASCAR, but obviously the car not quite okay.
You can tell the radiator and everything's broke on this car. You can see all of it running across the racetrack there.
Let's see what happened if we can pick it out. He's inside of Jeff Green.
Okay.
Now he's outside of Jeff Green.
It almost looks like something might happen to the car the way
something
that
might
thing
have broken.
Yeah, something broke or cut a tire. Oh, he hit hard.
Ooh, sure did. But yeah, he was inside of the 3, and all of a sudden he makes a hard right.
Yeah, that was no racetrack.
Let's watch it again and see what.
It's the aftermath there. He's already up in the wall. But yeah, he was inside of Jeff Green. All of a sudden it went away from him.
You see the white line there. You see the grass on the inside of the white line.
Right.
If he got the left sides into that grass, that could have turned him out like that.
Don't know, but cleanup is underway. Lap number 140, caution for the 7th time. Glenn Allen, who, as we told you, won in the ASA ranks here a season ago. Todd Bodine still leading. Todd, you know, he has only led, coming into today, he led 104 laps all season. Today he's already pushing 100 laps led in this event by itself. Been a good afternoon. Let's take another look. Yeah. Maybe from Dick Trickle's car, they are telling us we might be able to see a better look at what happened.
Okay, you can see Allen on the inside there. Watch him just go down here, right there. It looks like something may have broke on the car because
almost
he was not in the grass.
The car wiggled just before that. Just before we saw it, the car wiggled just a bit. Too bad for Glenn Allen. So apparently to the garage area he will go to join Mike Harmon, Dale Jarrett, Mike Laughlin, Mike Wallace, and now Glenn Allen in this, the 7th caution of the day. If you're just joining us, Chad Little, you see him there, the green-colored number 23, the 4th car in line. He is not on the lead lap. For those of you who are just tuning in, Chad's back in 34th now, 3 laps down. He was involved in a spin earlier this afternoon, and that put him a number of laps down. Here's old Buckshot Jones running in 5th before the caution, and he'll come in for a stop.
See him putting a round in the right rear there. 2 rounds. 2 full rounds in the right rear to tighten the car up just a little bit.
Other teams making pit stops now. Curtis Markham is in. Robbie Reiser is in. Jason Keller makes a stop. Jim Bound is in again. All of these stops obviously under the yellow at lap 141. Let's take another look again. Take a closer look. 99 is the man we're looking at there to the inside of the 3.
Okay, they're just working their way out of turn 2 now, starting down the back straightaway. He's trying to get the inside position on Jeff Green as they start down the back straightaway.
Then our camera picks him up again, and off into the wall it goes.
Boy, you really can't tell whether he jumped on the brakes or
you didn't see the wiggle.
It's tough to say what happened there.
You didn't see the wiggle from that view. Let's watch it again from Dick Trickle's view. Let's. Clearly something happened.
It almost looked like going down the back straight, the car started to wiggle even before that. The car seemed to dance just a little. I wonder if he was cutting the tire down.
Well, I'll bet you one thing. I bet as good as Glenn Jarrett is at finding out what happens like that. When he gets a chance, he'll let us know.
We'll give him a moment to chase Glenn Allen down in the garage area. So why don't we break away as we continue under the 7th caution flag of the afternoon.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Sears Auto Center's 250 on TNN is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by tangy Heinz 57 steak sauce. Let's eat.
1 to go signal here at the Milwaukee Mile. Glenn Jarrett is tracking down someone from that Luxair team to find out exactly what happened. Glenn, are they sure what happened?
Well, David, if the crew chief thinks he knows. David, what did Glenn say? What happened out there?
Well, he got down on the inside the 3 car, and they just blowed the track, and all that loose stuff was down on the inside. And when he got down on the inside the 3 car kind of chopped down. He locked him up and slid in the loose stuff, and he just lost it and hit the wall. But, you know, the track's terrible. It's a 1-lane racetrack. If you get on the outside, you're done. So, and it's hard to pass. It's nobody's fault. It's just the racetrack conditions.
Well, thank you for David If's explanation there, and still having trouble out there, guys. They're just like they're racing on eggshells.
And, you know, people are going to talk about my political sensitivities here. But the bottom line is, when Carl Haas and his people repaved this place, we're trying to make it better.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are as dismayed, obviously, as are the competitors, because they were trying to do what's better, and they'll have an opportunity to get things fixed up before racing resumes here. Riding with Marlon Wright, he is the pace car driver for the NASCAR Busch Series as the green is in the air. Lap 145, now 146 up on the board. Todd Bodine, the 81, Butke, the 66. The green car, Chad Little, he is laps down, 3 in arrears. So the next car, the red and yellow one, the 34, Mike McLaughlin, he's the man in 3rd. And that's the separation. I'll tell you, Todd's getting great starts. Well, on these restarts, he's pulling away in a giant hurry.
He's getting great starts, but Nathan Butke there in 2nd, and the 66 car is running very, very well at this moment. Trying to protect himself. Chad Little directly behind him is not in the lead lap at this time. He lost a lap in a wreck earlier in the race.
Todd took the lead at lap 75. Jason Butke, or Nathan Butke, right behind him. There's Mike McLaughlin. And again, the 23, the green car, 3 laps down. Whoa. He'd like to get some of them back right here if he can. He's in 33rd spot. Chad Little is. Chad will grab the microphone next week. He'll be with us, buddy, on our coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup race from up in Loudon, New Hampshire.
Chad does a great job on the air. He has a real good insight, and so does Bill Venturini. He's with us today here.
Dick Trickle, we're riding with him. He's in 5th. And there you see how well he's moved up. No surprise. Many laps he has on this racetrack.
Oh, I think out of anyone that's racing in this race, Dick Trickle's got the most laps out of anyone. Probably add almost everyone's laps together, they still don't equal his.
I was driving to the track from the hotel this morning and went by one of those Super America gas stations.
Super America.
And I was thinking of Dick Trickle. That was the sponsor he had on that great car of his for so many years. McLaughlin and Jeff Green, they're ahead of Trickle in 3rd and 4th. Working our way towards the final 100 miles of this one. Oh, Jeff Green's coming along. You know, it's going to be interesting with Dale Earnhardt talking about his own NASCAR Winston Cup team that he'll field in a couple of years' time or so. You know, there's Jeff Green in the stable, Ron Hornaday Jr. from his Craftsman truck. Going to be a great opportunity for somebody.
Well, I'll tell you the honest truth. Jeff Green does a great job in the 3 car. Hadn't won this year, but he's been in contention so many times. I thought at Myrtle Beach he might have his first win. I feel like he had everything locked up. Late caution, everybody got fresh tires. His car was not quite as fast on the tires. But there's a lot of talent there. And if Ron Hornaday ever gets in this division, look out, folks.
McLaughlin and Green. You also got a good look at 64 Trickle yielding a spot to Hermie Sandler, our pole sitter. So Hermie now up to 5th. This is his 99th consecutive start for Hermie. And again, you see that cloud of smoke. That's another thing we're seeing here. Again, if you're just joining us, we mentioned guys are cutting the corners so now The tires are going to where grass used to be. The grass has been worn down. Now they're kicking dust up.
Yeah, that smoke isn't the concrete dust that we were seeing earlier. That's actually the dirt and dust coming from off of the grass on the inside of the track.
Hermie Sadler. Now McLaughlin and Jeff Green. In the garage area, Mike Harmon, Dale Jarrett, Mike Laughlin, Mike Wallace, and Glenn Allen. Todd Bodine still leads. Nathan Butke is still second.
You can notice the nose on Jeff Green's car, the 3 car there, the very right front corner. He's been in the back of somebody already. You can notice the headlight door has been in there.
152 laps complete. Hermie Sadler led the first 22 laps. Jason Keller led a lap. Meanwhile, Nathan Butke in the 66 has caught Todd Bodine. Todd has led since lap 75. Nathan Butke. He led back in South Boston in 1994. The last time he led a lap on the NASCAR Busch Series. Old Todd, nothing's bothering him today.
Right now, they're just like they're on a tight wire almost. They're going around here, being very particular to stay directly in the groove, not to get it too low, not to get too high. And right now, Todd Bodine's doing it better than anybody else. But I watched Nathan Butke just a second ago. He closed right up on the trunk there with Todd Bodine. Got a little bit wide. Now he's trying to figure, is that tire okay or not?
Got to start thinking, huh?
Yeah, when you get into the loose stuff, it feels like the tire's going flat. So now he's evaluating. Okay, it's okay. He'll get back on the throttle in just a second.
Now you see Jeff Fuller in the 47, Stevie Reeves in the 96. They work back in Fuller's case in 14th spot. Reeves a lap down. He's in 24th. You still got to deal with traffic. The 4 now is Purvis, and he is watching now spins in the corner. Purvis and Fuller had themselves going, and that's all Phil again, isn't it?
Phil Parsons, I'm going to tell you what. He needed to put the steering wheel in the back glass today. He's been backward more than he has forward today.
Phil Parsons, we stay under green. There's no caution. Lap 156. And back to the race leader, Todd Bodine, who we were telling you has led since lap 75. We're now at lap 156. Now let's talk about it. Why do some guys have trouble and why don't others? I mean, we haven't seen Todd Bodine with a lick of problems trying to deal with the facility here.
Well, whoever worked on that car yesterday for Todd Bodine did a super job. Look at this, 3 wide down the front straightaway. Bobby Labonte under Fuller as they go into turn 1. Watch Fuller right now. He's in trouble and does not realize it. If he jumps on the throttle around that truck, the car will come. But you see him, he was smart enough just to stay out of the throttle and bring it back down into the groove.
I know what you almost said. Let's go back and take a look at that incident that had Phil Parsons involved up there in the corner and see what happened. One machine already breaking loose. Oh, that's what happened. Kenny Wallace did the full 360 first.
And the end result was Phil Parsons, these guys, it was just chain reaction. You see him.
Oh, 2 more spins right behind in addition to, there's Phil on the right side. Oh, so now we get a better look. We'll take a look from Phil's view and see exactly what happened. He's waving. He says,
oh, he got hit. He had to get hit because he was waving already backing out. And all of a sudden the car gets turned over. That means that somebody ran into the back.
Exactly, because he was pointing straight when he was waving and he goes right around. So he had some help from the rear. Todd Bodine is the leader, lap 159 of 250. We're coming right back to the Milwaukee Mile. Welcome back, everybody, as we continue from the Milwaukee Mile, the Sears Auto Center's 250 for the NASCAR Busch Series. Little smoke there coming up off the right knee area of Tim Fedowa's car. watch it again. We were seeing that earlier as he found himself running along, then a little smoke would come up, and then every now and then it would kind of seep up into the car as well. There's Vidua in the 40. Just ahead of him is Jason Keller in the 57. Jeff Purvis has taken his car to the garage area. He was in 17th position when they decided to park it. And oh, they are the problems we're talking about with Vidua as it continues to erupt. But Glenn, we had him being shown at 17th, Purvis, before he parked his car.
In the car right now, Eli, he crawled out of the car looking, he's pointing, telling the crew something, so obviously he knows a little something that that they don't. I was going to try to get a word with Jeff. I'll ask Jeff, do you know what's wrong?
No, it started vibrating there a few laps, or about probably 15 laps ago, and I just tried to ride it out, and then it just, I guess it blew up.
Well, I guess that's the end of that story.
Oh, Jeff Purvis and the boys looking things over. Tim Vidua has brought his machine, as you see, to the pit lane now at lap 166 as the crew will go to work there. Meanwhile, Dick Trickle in the 64 has caught 5th place Hermie Sadler.
Not going to waste much time trying to put Hermie away. He's up to the quarter panel. I hope Hermie sees him. You see Hermie roll out the throttle and let him go.
Well, Dick Trickle climbing the leaderboard. Meanwhile, first place to second, still 2 seconds. Second to third is 5 seconds. And there's Mrs. Trickle. Good to have her with us here,
right,
making the trip over from Wisconsin Rapids to enjoy her sunny boy.
I guarantee you, Trickle is one of the hardest competitors out there. Look at this 15, though. Tony Stewart has worked his way all the way back in the top 10.
Hey, Glenn, nice to see Ma Trickle down there.
Well, it certainly is, Eli, and I want to tell you what. She looks younger than Dick does.
They're talking things on. Ma Trickle has just walked over to Glenn Jarrett to ask him a question. An equal information service provider we are, and we're glad you're with us. Running order now, Jeff Green has gotten around Mike McLaughlin. Meanwhile, there you've got David Green in the cat car. And the unsponsored entries, Tony Stewart, that's 6th and 7th you're looking at.
I think Tony Stewart's probably passed 50 or 60 cars today.
Isn't that the truth?
He had to go to the back twice, and he's worked his way all the way back up to 7th again. He's putting on a whale of a show today.
Oh, we're only at lap 169. We got those 81, 82 laps to go. If it stays clean here, if it stays green, you see how well Tony Stewart can climb to the front.
You can see Toby Porter, or Randy Porter, get a little bit wide going into turn 3 there and have to check up.
Oh, man. Second place, Nathan Butke. Second place is in the wall. Oh, that's a heartbreaker for that young man. Nathan Butke in the wall, running in second spot. The youngster from Randleman, North Carolina, who started 19th and was a factor all day. You see him moving around in the car. Boy, that's a heartbreaker. That's too bad. Nathan Butke brings out the 8th caution of the day, which ties an event record for this event from 1993. Let's see what happens. Just went into the wall.
Just got out in the loose
I
stuff.
would have to say that maybe he had a right front cut there. By the angle he come out of the corner, he never got the car turned at all. Went directly out into the outside wall. So he either got in the loose stuff or cut a tire there, but you could see he had no control coming out of the corner.
So the 8th caution of the afternoon here at the Milwaukee Mile, as Todd Bodine's closest chase now ends for the moment in the wall, and Jeff Green climbs 1 spot closer to the front. Pit stop's the name of the game here at the Milwaukee Mile. The 81, that is your leader. The 3, that's number 2 spot. Todd Bodine and Jeff Green. Routine all the way around. Here comes Green. Here comes David Green backing up. Drag race to the end of the pit lane.
Yeah, but one thing that nobody got to see here is that Tony Stewart, I think, is going to be leading the race after these pit stops. He was the first one out of the pits.
The one thing you didn't see, Bill, at the end of pit road down there, he went by the paddle man and stopped. I hope they don't call him back in, because he did stop, but he went by the paddle man at the end of pit road.
And the reason all of these stops are coming are because of Nathan Butke's skate up into the wall. look there at the exit of turn 4. And you're right, he never turned.
He was definitely in the loose stuff, though. You could see the car sideways before he got to the wall. He was lucky he was able to turn it just a little bit instead of a direct hit.
Dennis Setzer, not making a pit stop in this immediate sequence, will assume the lead. It'll be the first time he has led in 1996 while we check back on pit road with Glenn.
Well, guys, most of them came in and changed right side tires this time. And we want to take a look at this tire here. It came off the right front of Bobby Labonte. Man, he's got a severe problem there. Now, this tire had a little over 100 laps on it. They've been getting good tire wear. This is the only tire that I have seen today that had any evidence of any problem on it. But boy, there was a big problem there. Bobby had to stop under the green to change this tire. So we're going to take a look at some of the other tires that have come off some of the cars that pitted under caution. But I think this is just an isolated incident.
Yeah, that almost looked like the car was pushing too much for it to wear like that. Looked like it might have had a chassis problem.
There's old Nathan Butke's number 66. And there is our race leader, Dennis Setzer, in the Lipton T entry. Don't forget, folks, coming up next weekend, we'll be there morning, noon, and night at the New Hampshire International Speedway. The rained out running of the Stanley 200, the NASCAR Busch Series event, will go at 10 o'clock in the morning on Friday, July the 12th, and we'll be there for that. Saturday, the New Hampshire 150 for the NASCAR Busch Series. That is Saturday, July the 13th. That's the Busch North Series, I should say. And then Sunday, the Jiffy Lube 300 at 1 o'clock Eastern. We've got the NASCAR Featherlight Modified Tour running on Saturday as well. That's always a great race up there at New Hampshire International Speedway. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, Friday morning Eastern time. We'll be with you in Loudon, New Hampshire. Still working caution for the 8th time this afternoon. We are 76 laps from the finish in Milwaukee. From the home of beer and bratwurst, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we welcome you to the Milwaukee Mile on TNN Motorsports. Updating you on some stories. Tony Stewart, we talked about the fact barely went past that stop-and-go paddle at the end of the pit lane. NASCAR verified through their videotape that he did come to a full stop, albeit just about a foot farther than he needed to. But they said because he stopped and let everybody go by and didn't gain, he is going to be allowed to stay in his rightful position. There is Tony Stewart, and he will be on the racetrack now in the 5th position. Glenn Jarrett, though, let's talk fuel strategy here. Dennis Setzer didn't stop. Buckshot Jones didn't stop. Jason Keller, Curtis Markham, they're all looking at about 113, 114 miles to the finish from when they last stopped. Can they do it?
He lied to a man down here. They're telling me they can. They said that's the reason we didn't come in. Track position is so important right now because it's so difficult to pass, so hard to get under somebody. You can't get on the outside of them. So they're rolling the dice right now saying that they can make it. These 9-to-1 engines with the carburetors that they run in Busch Grand National Racing get very, very good gas mileage, and every one of them says that they can go the rest of the way. We'll wait right now and see if that is indeed the truth. They're hoping that this thing goes green the rest of the way. I don't think that'll happen.
Of course, the Goodyear tires, with the exception of the one which we saw off Bobby Labonte's car, and that might have been chassis set up more than anything else, the Goodyear tires have been exemplary all weekend. But you've got your 5th place guy with new tires, or fresher tires. McLaughlin, Sadler, Green, Kenny Wallace, as opposed to the other fellas who didn't stop. So fuel may not be the only story. The tire rule here this weekend, as Glenn told us earlier, were the tires you started with plus 3 additional sets that you were able to make use of throughout the course of the afternoon. Field should be getting the 1-to-go signal this time by. Dennis Setzer is the leader. Buckshot Jones 2nd. Jason Keller is 3rd. Curtis Markham 4th. Tony Stewart is 5th. Mike McLaughlin is 6th. Then Hermie Sadler 7th. Jeff Green is running 8th. Kenny Wallace 9th. And David Green is in 10th. Don't know if you had a chance to catch our action last evening, Race Talk. We had Bill France Jr. and Gary Nelson with us taking phone calls. Next Saturday, Race Talk will be on the air from New Hampshire International Speedway at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. We opened up the phone lines toll-free to you. It was very interesting to watch and spend time with Bill France Jr. talking directly to the fans. And the fans were not, they were very respectful but the calls were very interesting. One guy called in and said, why does NASCAR always favor Dale Earnhardt? One guy called in, wanted to know about the schedule. One guy was curious about, will there ever be a division in NASCAR racing the way we've seen Indy cars now break into the Indy Racing League and so on. A lot of very well thought out questions, and Bill Francis went one-on-one with the callers across America.
Bill France let him know right away he didn't have a preference.
Right.
Earnhardt does not get special treatment or anybody else out there.
But it was a very, very interesting, you know, it's not often you sit down with a commissioner of any league, be it Paul Tagliabue in the NFL or Bud Selig from baseball or whatever, and just let the fans go one-on-one in a situation like that. It was very, very interesting and fun to be part of last evening. Gary Nelson also was along as the NASCAR Winston Cup Series director. Green flag is in the air. Here we go, back underway at the Milwaukee Mile. 70 laps to go. 70 miles. Up front, those cars are not on the lead lap. The 51, Jim Bound, a lap down. Chad Little, the 23, 3 laps down. There's the race leader, Dennis Setzer, the 38.
See Buckshot in the 00 there. Buckshot Jones in second place. What a great drive he's had today. Several times got himself a little bit wide, able to pull the car back down in the groove. And you can see right now he's got the measure on Dennis Setzer. As they start off the corner, though, Setzer gets a good drive.
The 44, Bobby Labonte, just ahead of Setzer. He is not on the lead lap. He is a lap in arrears. So you're looking right there at the battle for the top spot. Dennis Setzer and Buckshot Jones. Just got a quick look at the Ron Thiel car as he went by. We're seeing some smoke out of the header pipes on his machine. But no problem for the leaders right now, except traffic.
That is a big concern, though. When you see them dicing around back here, the one thing you don't want to do is position yourself on the wide groove. Just before we ever even started the race today, I knew the outside groove was going to be a problem. You see them kicking dirt up from the inside there, but there is only one groove through the corner right now.
There's a heck of a scramble right there. McLaughlin. You've got Hermie Sadler in the 1, Jeff Green in the 3, Kenny Wallace in the 8, David Green the 95. There's Todd Bodine running in 11th. He has led much of this day. And remember, he pitted while some of the other lead cars did not. We're at lap 182 of 250. Now you've got the battle for the lead there. Setzer in the 38 having to deal with Jim Bound in the 51, who is laps down. And Buckshot just waiting to see what happens. He's the 00. The 96 is a lap car.
Stevie Reed.
Right. And the Clabber Girl entry. These two going for themselves. There's Todd Bodine in the 81, Dick Trickle the 64, getting by old David Green. So Green goes from 10th back to 12th in that exchange.
You can see right as they went into the corner, David Green definitely pulled down. As soon as Trickle got by him, he didn't want to lose any more spots.
Looks like Buckshot near the exit of the corner can draw about a half car length closer. Then Dennis Setzer holds him off again.
Right now, Buckshot's just waiting for Dennis Setzer to make one little mistake where he can get up under him. You see, he's a little quicker in that particular part of the racetrack. But Setzer, when he gets towards the straightaway, he's got a lot of straightaway speed.
And the way the track is right now, he's got to wait for him to be. He's got him going into one.
Oh, Buckshot Jones makes the dive into the corner. He led back at lap 72 for 3 laps and now leads again here at lap 185. Wouldn't this be a heck of a story?
Indeed it would. And the way he's driving right now would not surprise me a bit.
And he's gotten gone. Meanwhile, you've got the 15, Tony Stewart. He is running in 5th. McLaughlin, the 34, in 6th. Hermie Sadler, the 1, is in 7th. Jeff Green is in 8th. And there goes McLaughlin.
Now, Stewart better know he's under him there.
Oh, goodness. In a hurry, here comes Jeff Green. Poor old Todd
Bodine.
Oh, man, buddy, you saw that coming.
You saw it coming, buddy.
Buddy saw it coming.
Yeah, well, you know, when you get on the outside there, you have to check up until you get back in line for that lower lane.
He wanted to get down, and the first car got through, and the second, he didn't. I don't think he saw the second car there.
Look at old Todd. What a terrible, terrible break there. Todd Bodine, Tony Stewart, Hermie was involved in a bit of that. Caution, obviously, for the 9th time, as Buckshot Jones is our race leader. There's Tony Stewart. Now, how did you know that was coming? I mean,
well, you know that, first off, you have the inside wall that goes almost all the way into turn 1. You can see the edge of it as Todd Bodine went by there with so much front end damage to the 81 car. But you knew that the outside groove is no longer there. There was no place for Tony Stewart. He was trying to come back down. He got hit in the left rear corner.
Well, let's go back and look at it again, guys.
See the inside wall. McLaughlin he gets by. Now you see underneath there, Hermie Sadler had nowhere to go. They made contact. Now it's chain reaction from there on.
Unbelievable. We'll take a look at another angle here as they come towards us head on. The left side, that totally white car, is Tony Stewart.
Okay, Tony realizes they're there now. Watch this. When he tries to turn in, Hermie Sadler has nowhere to go with that inside wall there. Jeff Green gets hit hard.
And there's your basic domino effect.
That's it.
No, and you can see Kenny Wallace. Good thing they put that new access road in there. He got through that wreck by going down the access road.
Well, some of the teams involved in the accident coming down the pit lane. There's Jeff Green. Todd Bodine will be in a moment. 188 laps of 250 on the board.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Sears Auto Center's 250 on TNN is brought to you by Rainsoft Water Treatment Equipment. Quality water for you and your family that's dependable by nature.
Here at the Milwaukee Mile, Glenn Jarrett is in the garage area.
Well, I thought I was going to get to talk to this young man in victory lane today, the way that race car looked, but boy, what a pilot down there, Todd. What happened?
I'm not sure who got sideways or what happened, why they all jacked up. I tried to get slowed down. I run in the back of Jeff Green awful hard. It put the radiator right back on the motor, so it hit pretty hard. It's a shame, you know, we had a bad pit stop, and that's what put us back there to get us in that position to have to run those guys. I think otherwise if we just had an even pit stop, we'd still be out front leading it, and I really don't think anybody would have touched us. The Cape Canaveral Cruise Line Chevy was awesome. I mean, it'd go through all that junk and just keep on digging.
What were you doing different? You were the only one out there that seemed to be having virtually no trouble on that racetrack today.
Well, it's kind of like dirt racing. You got to find the groove. You know, you got to find the cushion where you can run. Every lap it seemed like it was a little bit different because guys would be moving around a lot, and you just had to keep searching. You know, that's why I like when Jason or Nathan got behind me, he run me down, but I found a groove and pulled back away.
Tough break for Todd Bodine. I thought he had the car to beat. You like it?
I think he thought he had the car to beat as well. Green is in the air here at lap 192. Roy Buckshot Jones is the race leader. His grandpa nicknamed the Buckshot, if you're curious.
When he was born, he said he was hardly as big as a Buckshot, so he's still not a huge guy. He's like 5'3" or 4", but out there right now, he's a giant.
He's running with the race lead right now. The fourth car in line is second place on the scoreboard. That's Jason Keller. There's the leader. The next two cars are lap cars, and there, the 57. He is second on the leaderboard. The 63, Curtis Markham, is next in line.
Eli, Curtis Markham fought back from spinning very early in the race and dropping way back in the crowd, but now he's working his way back towards the front.
Of course, he's also driving, Markham is, with sprained ligaments in his wrist after that accident at Watkins Glen a weekend ago, when they lost a motor and wrecked the car. There you have 57 Keller, 63 Markham, 34 McLaughlin, 8 Kenny Wallace, all battling for position, second on back.
Now Curtis is caught on the outside there. Oh, he was lucky he got back in just in front there.
Dick Trickle just watching and waiting. He's in the 64, riding with him now.
Yeah,
earlier we had seen that Kenny Wallace had done a pit stop and they were working underneath the car, and found out that they had put some rubbers in the rear springs to help loosen the car up. And it sure seems to be working, because now he's running in the top 5.
Ron Thiel has taken his car to the garage area, done for the day. And if you're a Hermie Sadler fan, our pole sitter is still on pit road. He has been in now for the last 5 laps with the DeWalt crew working on his machine.
Trickle is just staying right in the fight all day long. You're riding with him right now, just behind Kenny Wallace, coming towards the front straightaway. He's running a very, very good race. He looked to the outside. You can see Kenny say, "Oh no, not now."
And in turn 1 they go again. This time it is Jason Keller caught outside. And he'll lose 3 spots.
But look how much it hurt him coming off the corner. He lost about 5 or 6 car lengths just by having to roll out the throttle that much to get back in the groove.
Chad Little has gotten 1 of his laps back. If you're a Chad Little fan, he is now 2 down to the race leader. The cat colors, that's David Green. He'll work inside of Curtis Markham if he can. Couldn't do it that time.
And just behind them, Randy LaJoie has run a very, very patient race, just like Birdie said he would. Birdie is his crew chief, by the way, for those that don't know.
Steve Bird.
He stays right on him all the time. He actually drives the car as much as Randy LaJoie.
That's 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th places right there on the screen. As Hermie Sadler now returns, he'll be about 6 laps down, maybe more by the time he comes up to full speed. That's 5th place, the battle.
There's Larry Pearson also right in the group there. That bunch right there, in 1 slip, and you can go from 10th to 4th. I mean, this is a good group of race cars going along here.
Meanwhile, Buckshot Jones still leads. It's now 1 8/10 seconds. The advantage on Mike McLaughlin in second. Oh, and into the crash.
Oh, no!
And Green gets into the back of Markham. Around goes Pearson into the wall. And that, folks, is the point leader, David Green, the 95.
You can see Randy LaJoie was involved in that too. He's actually the one that got into the back of David Green. And
no caution. We're staying
caution.
green.
The good part is David Green's car did not look to be hurt that bad.
Boy, that could have been a big old mess.
Well, that just gave Buckshot a whole lot of breathing room.
And that, I don't think, was the racetrack. I think they got off into the grass that time. We've been telling you how they've been cutting the corner. Let's see. Somebody's ahead of Keller, who kicked up all that dust. Somebody was in the grassy strip there. And then everybody else tried to check up, I think.
Yeah, that was a chain reaction. You see David Green going around sideways.
See
now.
the tire tracks there in the grass?
Yeah.
That's what started it. Everybody checked up after somebody went through the dirt. That was not racetrack problem. Here's old Larry Pearson. Oh, man, you got a feel for him. What a great run they had going. And now Ryan Pemberton and the boys will go to work. 64, Dick Trickle. He's now up to 3rd, and Kenny Wallace is now 4th because of the way the running order is shuffled with that little skirmish in the corner. Meanwhile, back up front, Buckshot Jones, a graduate of the University of Georgia, continuing to show it away here in Badgerland as we are 50 miles from the finish. We have a new leader here at the Milwaukee Mile as Mike McLaughlin, with fresher tires to the tune of about 35 miles worth, has just gone around Buckshot Jones. He pitted at lap 174 versus Buckshot Jones, who pitted for tires at 139. So a 35-mile-an-hour difference there, and that'll explain a lot of things.
Oh, especially when you have to run so tight in the corners. Right now, what he's got to do is just stay in check there, right behind McLaughlin, and hope McLaughlin gets a little bit high.
Here's how the pass to the lead took place. Buckshot was ahead of McLaughlin in the corner.
Well, you can see McLaughlin's got a great run off the corner. He positioned himself on the inside. Right now, Buckshot knows, I have to roll out of this thing. There's not room for 2 cars going in the corner.
Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, guys, I just talked to the crew chief, Ricky Pearson, and one of Buckshot's problems, not only tire wear, he has picked up a bad push in the car. He just can't turn it down in the corner. So He's got worn tires and a bad push, but I tell you what, that kid's doing a great job.
He really has done a heck of a job today. Buckshot Jones is 26 years of age from Monticello, Georgia. But now it's the man from upstate New York starting to show the way, Mike McLaughlin.
You know, the one thing you have to worry about now, he says he's pushing real bad. We saw Bobby Labonte's tires just a little while ago. He had a push in that car and the right front wore out. So we have to worry for Buckshot right now that maybe they have a caution or maybe they need to blow the track later on and he'll have a chance to change tires.
Remember, we talked about McLaughlin, who is now leading. Remember his last 3 races? 6th at Myrtle Beach, 2nd at South Boston, 3rd at Watkins Glen. He has picked up 10 positions in the standings, up to 14th in those last 3 races. Now you're looking at 10th and 11th spot. Jason Keller, the 57. Jeff Fuller, the 47. That's 10th and 11th. We're in lap 209 of 250. Jeff McClure behind them. Though he's not on the same lap, he is next car in line on the racetrack. This has been a handful. While you folks are away getting a word from the sponsors, we took a quick peek on one of our in-car cameras at Dick Trickle. We were just looking at him up here in the booth, and I said at one point, I said to Buddy, I said, looks like he's smiling.
I said that's a Jack Palance look if I've ever seen it.
It was a grimace. He wasn't smiling. There is Trickle in the 64. He has caught Buckshot for 2nd.
But you can see when that in here on this in-car camera, he'll probably be, when he gets to turn left into the corner, he'll have to turn the wheel back to the right, which is a good sign that the car is definitely getting loose on him.
Very sexy, don't you think?
Mike McLaughlin has taken the lead, but all of a sudden Mike McLaughlin having some problems on the racetrack. That'll mean Buckshot's the new leader. McLaughlin may have just blown up.
No, he's running at full speed. All you have to do is get one tire out of that groove and you're in trouble.
Boy, it looked like there was some smoke, Glenn. It might have just been some of that powder and stuff from behind him.
And there goes
And
Trickle
that's the
for the
battle
lead.
for the lead. Dick Trickle is the race leader at lap 212, and the fans are going crazy. Oh, and Shane Hall is spinning. My goodness, there's something happening everywhere. Glenn Jarrett, was there a problem in McLaughlin's pit, or did he just get out of the groove?
No, they just had a problem with what happened on the racetrack, Eli. He just simply got out of the groove and lost control of the car. They just feel very fortunate he didn't get in the wall. They think that he's got the stuff to go back to the front, but like you said, he just got out of the groove. Just get one side out of it. You don't have to get all 4. Just the right side tires out of the groove, and you're gone.
Wonder how Dick Trickle's mom's pulse rate is doing down there right about now.
I'd say she's pretty calm. This guy's won over 1,000 features in his lifetime. One of the most talented drivers in the country, leading the race right now. But look at Buckshot. He's staying right with him.
Now let's see, what would the age differential be there? Buckshot was born in 1970. And we'll see what, wonder what Dick Trickle is up to as his birth year. Anybody with a guess?
I'm getting my dog out of this fight right now. I do not want to discuss this age thing.
No, I'm just talking about the experience. Dick is 1941.
41. Okay,
Yeah, the book shows him as 1941. Heck, Dick probably had about 700 feature wins before Buckshot was around. You saw Hermie Sadler going there. He's the number 1. He's out of everybody's way, many laps down. Tony Stewart slow on the racetrack. And we're watching McLaughlin now. He is in 3rd.
What I think you see happening here a lot is you notice all of a sudden there's cars all starting to slip and slide all over the racetrack. Everyone's had bad tires. They've had the tires on so long, everything's getting greasy, and with the track conditions, everyone's just kind of slipping out.
You were talking about Tony Stewart. He has the right front tires to cut down. He's very lucky not to get in the wall with the right front corner.
Back up front, meanwhile, it is Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin veteran Dick Trickle, who is showing the way here at the Milwaukee Mile. We're closing in on the finish. We are under caution. David Green's car had a problem coming off the corner, It then began to trail some flame behind it, and of course the safety crews were there with the fire extinguishers, and we'll show you exactly what happened. David, as you see him going into the ambulance, he climbed out of the car. He's just fine, walked away under his own power. But we'll try and take a look back and see exactly how the incident goes on. First, we'll show you the tail end of the problem. As you see at this point, he'd already spun, leaving that trail of flame behind him.
Usually that means you've knocked the fuel pump, the fittings on the fuel pump off, and you have the fire like that. The bad part is when it starts flaming like that, you see him going up into the outside wall. Look how close he come to hitting the cars coming by there. Watch it flame up in a second.
Now, as far as Mike McLaughlin, remember earlier we talked about a problem, or what was perceived as a problem? Take a look what happened here. McLaughlin's on the left of your screen.
Looked like a normal lap. He gets in. You see him going up a little bit. Now he's in trouble right there.
Had to get out of it or else he was going to wreck. You can see it. He was sliding all the way.
Yeah, sure did. That's where he goes from the penthouse to third place. But this obviously will tighten things right back up. 3 laps on the board. The field will get the 1 to go signal the next time they come to the start-finish line. So we're about 1.5 miles from going back to green. The entire Duralube team, the Shoemaker bunch, nobody wants to look. They're just waiting and watching. Wouldn't this be a story? I mean, they'll tear down the grandstands here if Trickle wins.
Well, the one thing that Trickle has to do now is run a perfect line and not make a mistake. The one thing this did do, though, is bring Mike McLaughlin right back up in third place, right up on the back bumper of the 2 cars in front of him there. We know he has the car. Will he be able to make the move here at the very end?
We'll all find out together. Dick Trickle's very first NASCAR Busch Series start was here back in 1984 when the series came up here for the first couple of years. Then, of course, the series went away for about 10 years from this venue before returning. But Dick Trickle was here that day, won the pole, finished third.
That was a shot at Dennis Shoemaker, the car owner, standing on the wall watching his driver, Dick Trickle.
This makes me wonder. I might have a... No. I like it up here with you, Eli.
Yeah, I was going to say, they don't have these air conditionings in the car. All right, Glenn, how's Ma Trickle doing down there?
Well, this is Loretta, and Loretta, we want to know, first of all, how you doing, and what do you think about this race?
Well, I don't watch it too close because I get kind of scared like your mother did. I seen your mother crying in the car when Dale won the 400 or at the Daytona, and then people grumped about your dad taking time off to congratulate him. And I told my daughter, you tell your dad, his dad, that he did the right thing.
Are you going to be out there in victory lane celebrating if Dick wins?
You bet. I've celebrated a lot of Dick's wins around Wisconsin, but I've only won to one big race at Arizona.
Well, good luck for the rest of the day. We hope we see you in victory lane.
It's going to be quite an emotional moment there as we are back under green here. Working lap 224. Dick Trickle, Buckshot Jones, Mike McLaughlin, then Kenny Wallace, Randy LaJoy, and Doug Hevron now up to the 6th spot. We have said so very little about the Henderson team here today, and Doug Hevron now in 6th, having a super run.
Especially after crashing in qualifying and after bringing a backup car. He's done a good job.
His best finish was 13th at Nashville for the 75. There's Doug Hevron.
Just behind him, Bobby Labonte, who's had kind of a off day as far as you can notice earlier in the show. He had a problem with tires, and I don't think he's handling like he should. Randy LaJoy just in front of the 75 car, Doug Hevron there.
But at the same time, he's running in 7th, Bobby Labonte is. Of course, last time that the circuit encountered a new paving job at Nashville, Bobby Labonte endured there as well. 226 of 250 now complete. The story very simply is, again, we look at Doug Hevron in the middle of that field. The story simply, can Dick Trickle hold off the upstart Buckshot Jones?
I'm sure Randy LaJoy there in the 74 has to be wondering, what do I do now? Do I press towards the front? I have a lot of points that I'm going to make today. Should I just ride it out? He's got 2 races he's running today.
That's 6th place right there going to Bobby Labonte. You got 8th place, that's 6. That's Tommy Houston with a super run here this afternoon. 227 laps on the board. You see Kenny Wallace now in 3rd, having just gotten around McLaughlin. There you have 2nd place now behind Trickle. Dick's pulling away to as healthy a lead as we've seen anybody enjoy today.
See Kenny Wallace there in the 8 car. He made 2 changes on a pit stop a while ago. He seems to have a very, very fast car. You see him right now giving Buckshot all he can stand. He's looking to the inside there. No, he's going to run down this straightaway. But don't be surprised if Kenny Wallace does not get by Buckshot because of the tire wear he has at the moment.
Kenny came in at lap 171 while others chose to stay out, including Buckshot Jones. Trickle came in, the 64. He came in at lap 171 as well. 229 up on the board now with 250.
You can see these cars all racing for 2nd place. Dick Trickle's liking to see that action in his rearview mirror because those guys are worried about fighting with each other, and it's giving Dick enough room to pull away.
Kenny looking to the inside there. What he's trying to do right now is get Buckshot looking in his mirror, maybe to get offline just a little bit. This is a game of taking advantage of another guy's failure. So right now he is not staying directly behind him where he can see him in the mirror.
Well, with the way the track is, it's so hard to actually take it to make an advantage on another driver. You have to almost wait till he slips so you can take advantage of his mistake, let alone you can have a faster car, but you can't really drive around if you got to wait till he slips to take advantage of it. And that's just what Kenny's waiting for right now.
20 miles to go. Dick Trickle is showing the way. He took over the ride in the Duraloop car in Atlanta. He has had it ever since, and he's closing in on victory lane. Welcome back, everybody, as Mike McLaughlin has the 4th spot ahead of Randy LaJoy in 5th. That's the battle we're watching now as Dick Trickle continues to lead and is pulled away by a fairly comfortable margin on everybody else. So we'll leave him to his lonesome a bit because he is up, as you see, by better than 2.5 seconds. And we'll watch the 2nd place battle. Buckshot Jones, Kenny Wallace, McLaughlin, and LaJoy all battling for 2nd on back.
See, we were talking earlier about Bobby Labonte having a tire problem, and he's run right up there. Yeah, they're getting a little sideways.
Bobby Labonte looking on both sides there.
There's the leader, 64, Trickle.
And like Bobby just went by Randy LaJoy coming down the first straightaway.
There's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot. If you're curious, with all of his wins, Dick Trickle has never won a NASCAR Busch Series race. This is his 33rd event in this series. He finished 2nd at Charlotte back in May during Speed Weeks. He had a couple of 2nd place finishes in 1994, Glenn, but this is going to be a heck of a story.
Dennis Shoemaker just came up to me and said, man, there ain't never been a 20 laps this long.
I bet. That's a good point. Only 13 remaining now. 14 actually as they work this lap. It'll be 13 next time by. You've got Bobby Labonte and Randy LaJoy. 5th and 6th spots. You notice also that the sliding in the corners and all of that is pretty well settled down now.
See, Randy LaJoy went back around Bobby Labonte going back into turn 1. And look, Kenny Wallace put a look to the inside to go by Buckshot, and as they went into 1, had to close it up.
McLaughlin's on the move now. He and Kenny Wallace tried to tangle just a bit, and cooler heads prevailed.
Well, Kenny got just a little bit wide coming out of turn 2 there, and McLaughlin took the chance there on the bottom side. Couldn't quite make the pass. Kenny shut the door on him. This is going to heat up these last few laps.
And if you're just joining us, wondering about the point leaders, Remember David Green? He's in the garage. He was first in points. Third place in points, Todd Bodine. He's in the garage. Fourth place point man, Phil Parsons. He's in the garage.
Some cross fingers there in the pits. These guys are, I don't think this team's ever won a race here, the 64 team, and have Trickle out there doing such a great job. Look back here, though, Eli is picking up.
Kenny Wallace is really working the back bumper of Buckshot, and Mike McLaughlin is right on Kenny's bumper.
The only winners here for the Busch Series over the years have been Sam Ard, Jack Ingram, Steve Grissom, Mike Wallace, and Dale Jarrett. Those are the winners in the 5 events here thus far. What you can't see right now are the fans, virtually everybody here just standing. This obviously Dick Trickle crowd, being from Wisconsin. Those folks you see, they have forgotten about the fact that they bought seats. They think they bought airspace because they are on the main grandstand just standing. Now, does Buckshot Jones have any chance to try and chase him down? 10 to go, and the margin seems to be closing just a bit.
And Mike McLaughlin's moving to the inside of Kenny Wallace, going into 3.
It's just 0.8 of a second now, first to second. McLaughlin makes the move. So McLaughlin in the 34 goes up around Wallace in the 3rd.
It looks like the whole group is catching Dick Trickle here.
I think what Dick Trickle's doing right now is running a very consistent line, not trying to make a mistake. Catching him one thing, passing him another.
Yeah, Dick's run enough laps in racing there, though. He's just put it on cruise control and let them catch me, and then if they get to me, I got a couple more laps I can push it.
But it is now down to about 10 car lengths. Far different than the 2 seconds plus of a short while ago.
Eli, you've watched today. All you have to do is get one tire length out of the groove and you're in trouble. Trickle's trying not to make that mistake. Everybody else is going for the win. So are they going to catch him? It looks like Buckshot is closing in on him.
This is going to be a dandy of a finish. Buckshot Jones in the 00. Trickle's lead now basically 1.1 car lengths. That's about it. They are inside of 7 miles to go.
Yeah, I don't think Dick's really backing off as much as everyone had thought he would, because you don't want to. You're getting too close to the end to give up that much space. I think Buckshot's really driving the wheels off of this car.
It'll be 5 laps to go next time by for the leader, Dick Trickle.
Randy LaJoy just moved in the 4th spot, getting around Kenny Wallace.
And again, LaJoy just salivating at the thought that the point leader's already in the garage. Where's David Green going to finish? Well, as far as who's still running right now, Green could end up as far back as 31st, 32nd position, something like that.
Yeah, Randy's not saving that car, worrying about racing it next week. Randy's going to drive the wheels off it today, too.
Now there's traffic, also a factor coming up here.
A big factor. There's no way to pass lap over traffic in the corner, so you have to make your pass before you get down.
They are going to get into that traffic before we get to the checkered flag.
All right, now all of these men are many laps down. Rodney Combs, the 43. He'll go wide.
See Trickle trying to get on the inside. There is no outside here.
Around Phil Parsons. Hermie Sadler, the 1. He is laps down. And here goes Buckshot.
Oh, he's trying to get under Trickle.
And Trickle thought he could use Hermie Sadler as a pick.
No.
Oh, and Trickle making that car awfully wide.
Doing what you have to do. He's the lead car. That's his groove if he wants to take it.
This is great racing. Trickle again, wiggles.
Trickle's loose.
Oh, Trickle's in the wide.
Oh, no, he crashed.
Oh, goodness gracious.
He's hard in the front straightaway wall here.
Oh, man. And you know what? This could be, well, is Trickle going to get going? They're not throwing the caution yet. Oh, and now he's got the track blocked here on the main straightaway. Still no caution. It's a wide front stretch.
No, he can't steer the car. It looks like he's got a right front wheels definitely broken.
Oh, man. 247 laps on the board. There's your leader, Buckshot Jones.
There is no caution.
No caution, and the second place man, McLaughlin, is the 34 right behind him. It'll be white flag next time by for Buckshot Jones, running the full Busch Series schedule for the first time this year. That's why the grandstands are packed. You never know in this business.
Just behind this is a big stack up. Dick Trickle's on the back. Got a bunch of the cars slowed up. It's going to be a fight from third on back.
1 lap to go for Buckshot Jones. McLaughlin is in second. Third is LaJoy. Fourth is Kenny Wallace. Fifth is Bobby Labonte. Doug Hevron is in sixth. Now, does McLaughlin have anything here with the final half mile looming ahead? McLaughlin trying to chase down Buckshot Jones, who is in only his 18th race on the NASCAR Busch Series. This is for the win in Milwaukee.
Oh, look at this.
Here comes McLaughlin to the straight. I believe Buckshot got him by 1.5 feet.
If he did, only a foot and a
and then
half.
McLaughlin crashes at the end of going into one. He hit the inside of the pit wall.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He had never finished better than 9th at South Boston. And Dick Trickle is just beside himself. Let's go down to Glenn Jarrett in the middle of a celebration par excellence.
What a deal. He said it, what a deal. Ricky, you thought everything was lost and Trickle had trouble. What a finish.
I'm telling you, I don't know what to say. I mean, we've been competitive, all year. We just hadn't finished well. I don't know what to say. I mean, Aquafresh has come on board with us this year.
Jones is heading to victory lane. My goodness.
If you didn't like that one, you don't like racing.
We are going to come back and we will be joining what I'm sure is going to be a hugely emotional victory lane celebration. Roy Buckshot Jones, his first win on the NASCAR Busch Series. We're coming right back, folks, to the Milwaukee Mile. Don't leave us. This should be a lot of fun as soon as we come back. He is the 9th different race winner this year, and he is going to climb out and accept the accolades of everybody. Glenn Jarrett, it's all yours.
He's having a little trouble getting out. He's still hooked up. Hey, don't laugh. He's never done this before.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
And there he is, the winner, Buckshot Jones. Hey, young man. First of all, I want to say congratulations. Great job. But what did you think when you were running there? You probably had to feel like you were catching him there at the end, and then Trickle had the problem. What was your thought?
Yeah, that Aquafresh Thunderbird, it ran great. I tell you, Tony, he was up there spotting for me. Ricky was telling me just to get calm, just find a line. I tell you, those last 15 laps, we got a line, found it, and I tell you, the car hooked up and it ran great.
Did you think that you were going to be able to hold McLaughlin off that right there at the end? I mean, he came awfully close to getting you.
Yeah, he did. I was just trying to be real safe there, and he come on real quick. And for a minute there, I didn't think I was going to be able to hold him. But like I said, I just want to thank our sponsors, Aquafresh. They've stuck with us this whole year. So we've had a lot of problems. But I tell you, this whole team's turning around. I want everyone to know it's this crew that wins the race, because there's the ones that get the car prepared, because I tear them up all the time. But, hey, I want to say thanks to my crew. And the biggest thanks goes to my dad. He's been with me always. He's supported me and everything. And this one's for you, Dad.
Well, his grandfather nicknamed him Buckshot, and I asked him a couple months back, I said, when did you decide you wanted to go racing? Buckshot told me, he said, when I first got my driver's license, I went out and I drove a car. Dad bought me a car and drove it real fast. And he said, I came home and I said, Dad, you better get ready to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, he spent a lot of money, too. But I tell you, words can't say enough. This is great.
Congratulations again. We're going to let them celebrate now, guys. I'm getting out of here. Eli.
All right, Glenn. Let's take you back, folks, and take a look at everything what happened. Let's take a look back with Dick Trickle riding with him. This is before the problems that he had near the end of the race. Dick, of course, in the 64 car.
Well, Eli, we talked about lap over traffic. You see it right there. Looked like he had it pretty well in. He goes by Hermie Sadler. He gives him plenty of room down the straightaway. Now you see him going down into turn 3. Very narrow through there. He gets down in the corner pretty good right there. He starts to wash out. You see the back fishtail just a little bit. He's in trouble.
And the end of a dream for many of these Wisconsin fans. Let's ride with Dick Trickle as his problems unfolded. And let's just see what reaction. He's checking the mirror. And around he goes. Now let's take a look at the finish of the race. Again, the 00 trying to hold off the 34, which he does. Let's see exactly how close this was. I said about 1.5 feet when we made the live call. No, I didn't miss it by much. Maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet.
One front fender.
That'll work. That'll work. And how about it? Buckshot Jones winning for the first time ever on the NASCAR Busch Series. Let's go back downstairs. Glenn is caught up with Dick Trickle.
Dick, what a great run, and it just fell apart there at the end. But, man, you had these Wisconsin fans thrilled.
Well, I'll tell you what, proves nobody's infallible. Just a rookie mistake there, But the car picked up a push there towards the end, and I was underdriving a little bit, and I had a cushion, and, we come up on that group of lap cars, and that let the second-place car there catch up to me, and I had to kind of press it just a little bit. And all I did was just give the car a little bit of power, and it pushed just a little bit more than it was supposed to, and got up 6 inches, and that's all it takes. Like stepping over the edge of that cliff, just fall over. And, I gotta give Duraloop people a lot of credit. And, it was a good show for the people. It was good for me. I needed to win, but I've won a few, and I'm sure it was a good race for the people, and maybe I won in a few people's heart anyhow.
Well, I know that the fans were excited. They were all standing, all cheering, and what a great thrill it would have been. But still, they saw a great performance by you today.
Right. I wish we could do it over again, but I about gotten loosed up about 9 times today, and of course I was pretty careful all day long. Of course, when it comes time to ring the bell, you ain't gonna leave much on the table, and I was gonna win that race, and I just maybe should have done something different. But there's a lot of good drivers got up that loose up today, and I'm one of them.
Absolutely, and spoken like the true racer he is. If he makes a mistake, he just admits it, and his mom, Loretta, says that she's already forgiven him.
Dick Trickle country, baby.
You heard it, Dick Trickle country. The folks love him up here in Wisconsin. We're going to come back and wrap it up from Milwaukee. Quite an afternoon in the Sears Auto Center's 250. Know where your favorite came home today. Buckshot Jones over Mike McLaughlin, Randy LaJoy, and on down the line. There you see those who survived this day. We'll look and see Dick Trickle in 15th position. That's where his afternoon finally ended. Further down, some of the big stories. Our pole sitter, Hermie Sadler, comes home in 27th spot. There's David Green, point leader, 32nd position for him today. Jeff Purvis, Dale Jarrett out early, and Mike Harmon also done for the afternoon quite early. What does this do as far as the Busch Series point standings are concerned? 90 is all, Buddy Baker.
It's getting tight. I guarantee it's going to be a race right down to the last race.
Todd Bodine did so very well today, led so much of the event, only to be involved in a late accident. Curtis Markham and Phil Parsons. What's upcoming next week? Virtually anything on wheels from New Hampshire. We'll have it for you starting early Friday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern time. The Stanley 200, that is the makeup of the rainout from about a month or so ago for these same Busch teams. Then on Saturday, July 13th, the NASCAR Busch North cars and the Featherlight Modified Tour of NASCAR in the New Hampshire 150. Coming up tonight, the Children's Grand Prix from Minneapolis, SCCA Trans Am Racing. That's coming up at 9 o'clock Eastern time this evening. Also this evening, Race Day, the PM edition at 10:30 Eastern time tonight, as Rick Benjamin brings you all the highlights of a busy sports day. Coming up next here on TNN, Bill Jordan's Real Tree Outdoors. That follows us immediately here on TNN, the Nashville Network. Bill Venturini, hope you enjoyed the seat. It was great having you on board today.
Oh, I enjoyed it. Great show. Good show for the fans. And glad to see Dick Trickle run really good. Sorry the way it ended for him, but Buckshot Jones, glad to see a young guy win a race.
Buddy Baker, pack the suitcase. We're off to New Hampshire, my friend.
I'm all ready. You guys get ready for us. You'll see more action just like today.
Starting Friday morning at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. So again, a big thank you to Bill Venturini, Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett down on the pit lane, hustling in the garage area today. Hope you enjoyed. I know Buckshot Jones did. A first-time winner on the NASCAR Busch Series. For the entire TNN crew, I'm Eli Gold. Again, thanks for sharing part of your holiday weekend with us. We'll see you in New Hampshire starting Friday morning at 10 o'clock. Until then, you have a great week. So long from the Milwaukee Mile.